An interception. Relo. What a remarkable drive, man. That's an All-American drive right here.
It's not exactly unwarranted. Like, when you have a guy as that electric.
The legend himself, the GOAT, Dre Crowell.
Where my warm bottle movement at?
That kills your argument right there.
Anything can happen. This game is not over. What's good, Relocation Football League fans? It's your boy Smitty, joined here along with Rob Roby and Bill Nicholson, head coaches for anybody who doesn't know here in the RFL, and always on a podcast, usually on Wednesday, which we have, of course, every Wednesday after the week. And then tomorrow, of course, is game day and so on. We're heading into week 10 of the season. And heading into week 10, of course, we're going to recap week number 9. After we recap all the games and everything that went down in week 9, we're then going to move in to the top 10 power rankings, which has shifted a lot, I must say. And then we also have the schedule, our predictions and things of that nature. I'll also be showing you guys who is currently leading, which I was trying to do last week, but I forgot about it. I'm going to show you guys who's leading in award categories for this season so far. And then after that, we'll go ahead into the fun facts with Pat and open questions. So, Rob, Bill, how you guys feeling today?
I'm glad to be back, man. I don't know if you saw my message in the chat, but man, I was wiped out last week, man. Another one of those bugs, dude. It was bad news, but back now, feeling better, good to go.
How about you, Rob? Oh, you on mute?
Oh, is he frozen? Oh no,
he's
talking.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Yeah. I said I'm good, man.
All right, let's go ahead and hop into these games of week 9. I got 8 for whatever reason on here. All right, so the first game came out. The Red Dragons versus the Voyagers. Both of these teams, well, the Voyagers were 6-2 coming in this game. The Red Dragons now 6-2 after coming up with this big victory. They're 5-2, and man, they went in a big way, dominated pretty much from start to finish. Yeah, for a little minute, the Voyagers was trying to hang in there, but the dominant firepower, especially the defense of the Red Dragons, is what really made this game separate as much as it did. They forced a ton of turnovers, things of that nature. Anthony Savoy played a solid game. He's having a much better bounce back season so far this year. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and they win in Houston 42-14. So you guys' thoughts on the Red Dragons? I mean, this is a dominant win against a team that is, one of the upper echelon teams in the RFL.
I honestly think that if this was like 2 years ago, I would be like, oh, this is nothing. but we know what the Voyagers have been able to do the last couple of years, and it was, gotta say, rather shocking to see such a drastic change or drastic outcome of this game for them. Usually we see that the Voyagers are a little bit more in tune with what's going on and able to adapt, and the Red Dragons just came in looking like the Red Dragons from season 6 when they went and won the Relo Bowl. It was a great performance.
5.
And just pretty crazy. What was that?
Season 5.
5, sorry.
Yeah, this is just all about production. They were able to get touchdowns at all levels as far as it goes with wide receiver, halfback, and quarterback. And so I think that's two apiece, which just totally stifled the Voyagers. It wasn't a bad day for the Voyagers at all. The running game was, below average, I would say. But at the end of the day, Glenn Hay played pretty well in this game. But it was just the constant production from the Red Dragons and just nothing out of the Voyagers at times, which I thought, was interesting to see. Not see the Voyagers, get into the end zone. We've seen them put up big numbers before, but it's just always a tell between, these teams. You never know what you're going to get. But big salute to Coach Davis and the Red Dragons, man. They handled them quite easily.
Yeah, I really liked like you guys talked about, one of the biggest factors of the Red Dragons that has been the biggest issue for this team is the offense. The defense has always been there, right? Quarterback situation back since the Louis era, the first original quarterback here for this franchise. Then after that is just Anthony Savoy. So they've only had 2 franchise quarterbacks that are really franchise starters here. And we thought, the emergence of Savoy was really going to take off after he won that championship in his rookie season. And of course, hasn't been that way since. But now that you see he's in a rhythm, and not only this, DJ Scott fell down a Dev right before going into this game, and he looked like he tried to get that back with a vengeance. My guy was mad. 23
yeah, he made him mad.
95 yards. He had 2 touchdowns in this game. And how about another guy who fell all the way from superstar Dev down to normal because of his age, and Andrew McIntosh, the wide receiver? I hate to bring up old wounds here, or old arguments, but this is the reason why I got to give my guy Reed a bell. Abilities don't mean nothing. At the end of the day, they help you out. They help you out. And
came out of left field with that one.
There we go. Bell. There's the bell. Had pressed the wrong button. But abilities is not the end all be all for players, and this shows you exactly why. DJ Scott was still running through people. Andrew McIntosh was still mossing guys. This guy had 4 catches, 175 yards. That's a ridiculous stat line. And my guy Savoy only had 266 passing yards in this game. And 2 of those touchdowns, which were the only ones he threw, both went to McIntosh. So this is what makes the Red Dragons extremely dangerous in the RFL. This is what makes this team be undefeated as they are in playoff play. Because if the offense can be on this same accord week in and week out, like we know the defense is going to be, this is an untouchable team. This is the highest overall team in the RFL for a reason, and they showed that here in this game. It's all about making things click. Tough game for the Voyagers here for sure. The turnovers is really what killed them, in my opinion. And so, it results in the blowout. I don't think this speaks to what the Voyagers, though, as a team can do when they face up against top-tier talent. And so shout out to Davis, though, for this impressive win, man. I wasn't expecting. I believe I gave this game to the Voyagers to win, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back to the spreads.
I could see that. And like I said, man, like if this was 2-3 seasons ago, this is not even that crazy of an idea. But just what we've seen the Voyagers do and how the Red Dragons have been the last couple of years, to see this dominant of a win is just, dang, man, that's scary for the ARC, because if the Red Dragons could get back on this kind of stuff here and that offense is clicking, watch out.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to go through spreads also for the games. And yeah, I chose the Voyagers to win this by 3 points. Clearly didn't win the game. Big job, big game. Great job by the Red Dragons. Okay, moving on to Friday's game. We had the Aviators in the Riverhogs. I did choose the Riverhogs to win this game. I love the way that the Riverhogs look. I don't think they get enough credit for what they're able to do, because I feel like more people last season thought that this Riverhogs team was more of a shocker team. Like, oh, wow, they made the playoffs. Ever since Hunter Mackey's gone, this team has not really been that good. But then again, Hunter Mackey only wasn't in the fold a year ago, and that was in his worst times, in the RFL. And so when has this team actually been that terrible? The Riverhawks have been a solid team. They're on the up and up. The draft has really been helping this organization. They had the home field advantage against the Aviators. So to me, it's two players really carrying the Aviators this season. And honestly, since Marquise Washington came in as a rookie, it's Marquise Washington and Kingston Kinney. And Marquise Washington was playing a very solid game within this game until he threw those 2 interceptions, crucial interceptions. He did take this team into overtime, but ultimately Freddie McAllister with the 2 interceptions seals this game, and they win it 24-18. What do you guys want to talk about this victory here for the Riverhawks, now sitting at 7-2 on the season as the Aviators fall to 5-3?
Hey, I know, Rob, you've mentioned this plenty of times with some teams in the past, and I know that it's his first year, but sometimes, teams have a lot of pieces and they just need that extra touch that a coach can give them. Not that you can't help a team, Smitty, but you got a lot of different teams to worry about. So when you can add a coach to a team like the Riverhawks that have a lot of pieces in place already, you just got to be able to fine tune them as best as you can. This doesn't surprise me too well. We saw what this defense could do last year. We saw that McBride could be the guy and that Shivers wasn't losing a step. And yeah, I'm not too surprised to see this, man. The Riverhogs, I think, are a widely underrated team that people don't generally like to talk about up there. I don't know why, but they just have never really been, since I've been here anyway, as much, even with Mackey there. But it's deserving, and it makes sense. I can see this game. I could have saw this game going this way if I was able to be on here last week and say that. The Riverhogs are a good team, guys, and I think they're ready to make some noise here.
Yeah, I don't have, anything, bad to say about the Riverhawks, or really about the Aviators at this point. I wasn't expecting the outcome of this game, for a lot of reasons, and I'm going to reserve my comments until those kinds of conversations start to arise here tonight. But I'm perplexed at a lot of things, and seeing, sometimes, the game to me, in a sense, it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't make sense. Riverhogs, good team, good coach, but so are the Aviators. And I've seen at times this QB be superhuman, and this running back be superhuman. And I'm confused, man, about a lot of things. A couple of years ago, we were saying that Marquise Washington could carry the Aviators on his own, and Kingston Kinney can carry them on his own. And I still believe that for the Aviators. I just can't believe the outcome of this game. And I'm gonna hold my pause there.
Well, it's good you bring it up, but you can continue going. We'll continue on to that with that.
Yeah. But yeah. The McAllister interception obviously was just crucial, man. And I just don't know why Marquise Washington throws that like he threw that. And I think I came back to you, man, because I was trying to research that. And I just don't know why he threw that like that, man, because that ball was that ball's like 2-3 inches higher. It's a routine route. The guy's wide open. And this is a 97 overall QB.
Yeah,
and he can't put that thing in the right position there, man. And Freddie just haunted him on that, man. I just I don't get that. I don't get that, man. There's a lot of bad passes in this game. I get it. It's football. You're gonna throw bad passes. But man, those are the moments right there that really deflate this at times for me. Because I don't think that Marquise Washington is. I'm almost done. I don't think that Marquise Washington is the type of quarterback to throw that kind of pass at that point in the game with that guy with that wide open. And I'm gonna leave that.
All right, so here's my rebuttal. I think a lot of people like to focus on the play itself as to the cause of why the play happened. And that's one of the biggest thing I see a lot of our community members and people who are dissatisfied with final scores like to say is, how is this guy making this play? Why is this guy making this play? If you look at those interceptions on the replay, what happened, the first interception, which was a dig route that was being ran, and he was playing the inside leverage. shouldn't have thrown that ball, period. Actually, I thought that when I was on the broadcast, it was that great of a play. And I brought that up because of this. He was actually playing the outside leverage. He strapped the receiver up that good that he was able to go from the outside back inside to make a play. Anybody's making that throw.
You're talking about the first interception? Yeah, I don't have anything. I have no comment
now
on
the second interception. The second interception was clear as day as to why it happened. This is why. The pass rush. Go look at that play and look at the defender that was in his face. In the game, you don't have time to set your feet and sit there and throw the ball. It's going to take you more time. You're going to get sacked. So what do? The game is going to force the player to throw on a line, because even if he tried to lob it, he wouldn't have had the time to do it. He's getting sacked. So what is he doing? He's trying to throw the ball, get the ball out of his hands. He registers, oh, I have a guy that's open, and he puts it on the line. Wrong defensive back to do that against. He picked you off earlier. You know what I'm saying? If you look at the game and you look at why that happened, that's exactly why that happened. But even with those picks, Marquise Washington played a solid game against the Aviators. Against the Riverhawks. If you're watching the throws he made, the comeback attempt he was able to do, and then not only that, the Riverhawks sent relentless pass rush on Marquise Washington throughout the game, which I was commentating on while the game was happening. And let's not forget these guys, even though he didn't make a presence in terms of the stat sheet, these guys have Key Endeavor, which is one of the better outside rushing linebackers in the league. Now they just added Case and Fine. If Case and Fine's getting work, that's almost like the Toronto Thunderbirds work, where you have Marquise Knight, Max Knight, and Isaiah Ingram to worry about off the edge. Now you got two outside linebackers, though, which generally, I would say they would be faster, but honestly, they're not, because we know how fast Ingram and those guys are, but they're just as good and as fast and great at getting off the edge. So he was just getting destroyed mainly by the pass rush. He didn't have enough time. And what was one thing we always talk about when it comes to the Aviators? Their wide receiving core is not that good. We look at their leading wide receiver, Holland. He had the one touchdown towards the end of the game to make his way in the end zone for that touchdown, which was a beautiful throw by Marquise Washington on the line to just to get that out the way. So Marquise Washington is just working with what he has. And guys would sit here and say, Kingston Kinney, this is not a shutdown. Technically, yeah, this is not a shutdown of Kingston Kinney. But if you hold Kingston Kinney under 100 yards in any game, you win. They shut him down.
I understand, and you're going to always have a point about, something that you feel strongly about. You're going to always have a way to break it down and make it make sense. So I'm not going to argue that at all. If you want to say pressure made Marquise Washington throw that terrible football at that point in the game.
It's evident
fine.
though.
It's
you
fine.
Gotta if you look at that play.
I'm not arguing. I don't want to argue it. But when I'm looking at the way this game is, the best defensive lineman is an 84 overall.
Okay.
All of the rest of these guys are getting pressure against these guys where other teams can't get to them at all. And it just boggles me why the game at times chooses to get pressure against sometimes and not other times when it should get pressure. Example, you just said the Red Dragons are the best overall team. They should be doing this. But weeks ago, you say, oh, well, it doesn't matter about overalls. What I'm saying is I'm trying to figure out why is this thing choosing to allow this to happen? Because this defensive line, I'm sorry, Q, it's a great young defensive line. It's not elite.
You want to know the setup,
but they're getting elite pressure against an offensive line that we know has allowed Marquise Washington and Kingston Kinney to do tremendous things over the past couple of seasons. Why are they all of a sudden just dominating the
Go ahead.
I think I have actually a good understanding of what happened here that sort of goes both ways here for your guys' both view. I see what Rob is saying, but I feel like the questions should be more so pointed at the game itself, because I can recognize at this point now in Madden 23 cycle, that particular play there, they had, I can't think of which the receiver was that was doing that route, but that was a 9 route, if I'm not mistaken. He was just going straight down the field. At least it looked like that when they threw the ball. That was against a cover 2 look. The corner was underneath. I'm pretty sure that was actually supposed to be a putting it on a line. It was supposed to be a bullet pass because I've seen the quarterbacks in this Madden do this countless times against this cover 2 because, as we have talked about before, there has been issues where some safeties are not able to properly get over and cover that portion of the field if they get that 9 route behind the flat defender. So when that happened, right, he had an opening. He knew it. So he was already throwing a bullet pass to said receiver. But because of the pressure, the game sort of made him play as if he was throwing out of a sack, which lowered the velocity and changed where the ball was going to land, which was right where the flat defender was sitting, and it was an easy pick. So I get your point, Rob. I just think that the game itself has a weird way of making things play out the way it's trying to showcase the real world scenarios because it can't do it in every scenario.
This is the last thing I'm going to say.
Yeah,
last thing I want to say. There used to be an attribute called intangibles in this game.
That never had an effect in in-game play, though.
Yeah, it did.
No.
It was called intangibles, and the players would make and do things at certain times that you've never seen before. And I just am curious as to why. Like, I get it. It sounds perfect the way you guys are all saying it. But, like, when are we going to get the intangible player? Like, this is Marquise Washington. He knows his pressure is coming on him. He knew it before he even snapped the ball. Like, when are we going to get the knowledge or the intellect from a player to go above and beyond and do something that is an intangible that you won't see any other player do? Why do we always got to see this this real world simulated feat put into the wrong time in a game? Like, it's just like, why do we got to see that? Like, we got the abilities, we got all this stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to see the guy, like, do something else with the arm, man. You know what I mean? And get that thing up there, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to see that. I want to see every time. It's always this.
I just encourage.
I'm going to use this S word. I know you don't like it.
I encourage guys
it's always
to look at the actual.
It's
not scripted.
This scripted.
And I'm gonna have to stop you on that because this is what I'm saying.
Doesn't like that word. I'm gonna stop there.
Yeah, because this is what I'm gonna say. It's not. Anybody right now, go back and look at that play. He was not throwing that ball before the defender came. Because the pass rush came there, he had to hurry up and get rid of the ball. That ball was not decided to go on a line before the pressure got there. The pressure got there first, immediate. And then he had to hurry up and get it out. The game does that. Real quarterbacks actually do that. I'm not sitting here acting like Madden is the best football simulation game. I mean, obviously it is out right now because nobody's else competing with it. But one thing I am saying is, even though at times you could say that it's not depicted in the best realistic way, that was realistic. Now, would you say that a quarterback of that caliber probably wouldn't make that decision? You don't know that. They would still probably make that decision if the heat was there, if he felt like he had the guy open, right? Which he did. So what he did was he threw it on a line because the heat was there. That was a realistic depiction of why he threw that interception. That's one of the times that actually Madden got it right? And then we can't say that certain, because like I said, a lot of these topics of certain things that are brought up because they're not looking at the entire play. They're just looking at the result. Nobody is looking at the result of why it happened. And that is going to tell you everything you need to know about why this game's going to have its outcomes, right? It's not that you have that full control. Like I said, like people say you don't have control. Yeah, to some extent you don't, but you do it in certain ways. But let me finish on my points. Let me finish on my points up. This is what I'm saying. So, and to respond to what you guys said earlier, right? About what you said earlier, Rob, right? About how the game, you say, pick and chooses when it dominates the line. It doesn't. There's multiple factors as to why the pressure comes at certain times. People don't even associate the fact that they have bars that on the amount of moves that they can use. And if you have certain fatigue levels, it don't matter how great your player is. If he's tired, he's getting beat. Just because you have this number and overall, just as you said, and I said earlier, overalls do not mean everything. It's important because it gives you an idea of how great the player can play when he's at his peak. But not everyone that's a 99 is going to be playing at a 99 level due to various factors. And that's exactly what happens at the line. When you talk about their line, let's even think about last year. Did they have the best defensive lineman last year? No, they didn't. But do you want to know what they had to beat their opposition on the offensive line? They had certain moves that could beat those offensive linemen. Now you talk about the Riverhogs, look at their setup. You talked about the defensive line. It is not the actual defensive linemen, the D ends and the D tackles that is forcing this pressure. It is, as I said earlier, the outside linebackers that are playing on the ends, giving that edge rush, which is now you got Case and Fine, which was on the field, and you had a guy who's been there the last 2 to 3 years playing that position, and Kean Dever, who also is still racking up high in sacks this season. It's a lot of factors as to why outcomes happen. I do not feel in any way that the games is just picking and choosing. I've already talked about scripting. It's impossible for scripting to happen because you can't create that many scripts. It's impossible. Because if you saw it, you would see the same exact outcomes that would happen on a frequent basis. Nobody can create unlimited scripts. It just can't happen. So like that's my breakdown when it comes down to the questions in which you guys propose. I just feel, and at this point, I really do want to end with this question for you, Rob. Do you feel that the Aviators are a better team than the Riverhawks?
It's not that I feel that that they should be dominating them. It's just that I feel that that this team has a combination, and I've seen these two guys really go crazy, and I feel that defensive line is inferior to the offensive line of the Aviators with Keese and Kenny back there in the backfield. And I feel like it should have been a lot more successful than it was. And that right there just boggles me, because this is a guy that we know can put up 200 yards on the ground. He puts up 70. This is a quarterback here that we know can put up, over 350 plus, on teams. And he had a decent day, but he threw 2 interceptions, and one of them was very, very crucial. The last thing I'm going to say here, because I see this little thing you have here, Connor, about the Bills and the roster. Look, man, I don't want to go into this. I guarantee you that if I got Pat and Mitch and Forbes to look at how many times a weak team beats a powerful team in this league, it's up there. It's up there. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that good teams can't lose. I'm just saying that I guarantee you will find a significant difference between bad teams beating good teams, and you won't find rampant good teams beating bad teams like it should be. It's going to be more of a balance, and and that's always going to bother me. But it's fine. Let's go to the next topic. Now guys are whack. Guys are whack.
And I'm going to address that. Look, when I get to this is
whack. Log off is whack. Get out of here.
This is the thing. This is one thing I'm going to say here. I'm going to say this. When it comes to like the game, right? And shoot, I'm blanking on what you were saying, but more so, let me address Q first with this. This, it's a podcast, man. This.
Well, I was actually agreeing with you though. That's what I was saying before. Is I was agreeing with you, Smitty.
I wasn't talking to you though. I was talking to Rob's like his points on why I felt like
same with Q. Like I was crediting the defense with the pass rush.
Yeah, and Q would feel a certain type of way because as a coach, he feel like he put in the work. He felt like he should have won this game. I picked him to win because I feel like.
But he shouldn't take it personal from me.
Guys at times are going to. Guys at times are going to, right?
I'm not being personal. I just don't think that defensive line is that serious.
But this is what I'm saying.
He's doing a good job with it. Okay, it's fine.
All right, so this is what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, the Riverhogs, as a good coach, and as a coach that he is, he's continuing this team on. So of course, feelings going to be involved. It is what it is. I'm not going to take any of that serious in terms of that. He says it's whack. Okay, but just understand, in a podcast, we're going to have topics like this. Nobody should be feeling any type of way. Q, I understand what type of dude, what type of guy you are. I know you, respectable guy. But these are the type of topics that need to be had because that's what a podcast is about. So I mean, congratulations on the win. I knew you guys were going to get the win because I honestly feel like the Riverhogs are the better team. They are. They have more talent overall wise than the Aviators. The Aviators literally are surviving off of 2 players, which I brought up. But I'm going to go ahead and skip on to the next game. Good overtime win by the Riverhogs. I will say that. and then we'll go ahead and get to these premier games. Now, I don't have the stats for the premier games, but one thing I do have is memory. All right, so
No, you don't.
Memory when it comes to watching these games is that's if there's one thing I can retain is that. Let me see. Okay, I think I got all of them pulled up. I should.
Now I'm gonna jump in my other.
All right, so here we go.
Now I'm gonna jump on the opposite side now because you guys say these guys are trash.
Which
Every
they
week
They
are.
are.
But this is
they're
the
the worst
thing.
team in the league.
You can't.
Why
you can't
are
straddle the line.
they dominating? Why are they dominating the
You want me to
Snowhawks?
tell you why they're dominating the Snowhawks? Let me tell you this. You can't straddle the line of saying, "Oh, we got these good teams."
Do you think the Desperados are a better team than the Snowhawks?
No, they're not.
No.
But do I also think that bad teams can beat teams that are struggling? Yes, I do. I'm gonna tell you this: they had the home field advantage. Mitch already lost to weaker end teams this season. This stuff makes sense. And not only that, has Joseph Gidley switched up anything compared to what he did last season? He's already got 10 interceptions on the year. This dude is still playing at the same level as he was last year when they didn't make the playoffs. You play the Desperados, who we already know. If you got talent at the running back position like Tavion Hall, you go right back to that last game that I'm talking about with Kingston Kinney. He is that dynamic of a running back, right? Now, what happened in this game? The one guy you do not want to get off that's going to get this game going is Kyle Bain. He had 5 touchdowns in this game because what? He caught fire. This is exactly what happens in real life.
Does he have an X
Just
factor?
because, no, he doesn't. He's a star dev now. But this is what I'm saying.
Guys,
This
struggling.
this guy,
This guy's balling.
yeah, and 2 rushing touchdowns, and then 2 to start the game, then 3 passing touchdowns. I'm gonna tell you why this manifests and happened this way. Because obviously, what I'm seeing is this team is struggling with its offensive identity. It wants to really get the pass game involved heavy. The run game was kind of what it was last time, but they are in this spread out style of offense where you are more likely to throw interceptions, and it's not working out for Joseph Gidley. It's the same kind of deal when they used to get in a 5-wide set last season, and he was throwing and led the league in interceptions. He is still doing the same model. We've already put in doubt Mitchie's coaching, right? And that's what happened within this game. And again, not to toot my own horn, but I'm not sitting here just putting these teams to play whatever the game's going to put them in. I'm going to put these guys in a situation to defend as best as possible, even though they're a weaker team, to play this better team at a level on which I'm not expecting to win, but I'm expecting to slow this down to have a chance. What happened? They had the chance because of one factor, Kyle Bain. Kyle Bain's ability, which even last season showed when he is running the football effectively and passing the football effectively, you can't stop this offense. This defense has struggles also in the secondary level with the linebacker core, in which you talked about, Mix. These guys could not stop Tavion Hall. They could not stop Kyle Bain, who had the 5 touchdowns. And then Gidley is still out here throwing picks. So am I shocked that they lost this game? I'm not, because of the way it happened. I'm not, because this is something that is not new. This has been happening for a season plus now. They lost this game because of coaching. They lost this game because this team that also is looked at as the weaker end team is fired up from one player being on top of his game, which is the most important position in Madden. If your quarterback balls, more than likely you're going to win the game. He balled out with 5 of them things. They couldn't stop him. And they won 41-10.
Look, Rob, I know what you're going to say or what you said before. This team should not do this. They just shouldn't. And I understand where you're coming from, that they do it. I agree with you on that. They do keep doing it. But they shouldn't. They're like a 79 overall team. They have one of the worst offensive lines, one of the worst defenses at almost every single level. The only good thing they have is Tavion Hall, and when Kyle Bain decides to be good every other week or every 3 weeks. They shouldn't do it. I'm not disagreeing that they're doing it, Rob. I'm just saying they shouldn't be doing it. And especially against the Snowhawks. I was mad when I let them have a 3-point lead against me the week we played them. We ended up winning by 21, so it worked itself out. But this team shouldn't do this to the Snowhawks. Mitchie, if you are listening, I'm going to talk right into the camera. Mitchie,
Look in the camera,
stop trying to be cute. Just
man,
get
so-
this team into a multiple power run book. Let McDonald run it and stop trying to make Gidley throw 500 yards every game because you're going to get yourself fired. Done.
Sure and sweet.
That's my rant.
I'm gonna be the only one here to hug you, Mitch. You know what I'm saying?
No, this is tough love. This is elbow drops
Tough love.
and leg drops.
You know, I feel for you, man. You know what I mean? You know,
This shouldn't happen.
I don't know because these guys, they say that these guys are garbage, and then when these guys play teams, when they play teams that they win when Smitty when Smitty tweaks one.
I'm
hand,
definitely
he
about to
fixes
air you
stuff.
out on this mix.
Yeah, you can air me
Keep
out.
going,
all you
now,
want,
keep
man. I'm already aired out, man. I'm already
Nah, it's
aired
all
out.
good. It's a podcast, bro. We going back and forth.
I'm dry
We having these
laundry
debates.
out here, man. So it doesn't matter
Dry
to me.
laundry.
These guys want me to agree with you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's
No,
why
you
those
shouldn't.
other shows are not that good because everybody agrees. I just keep my own. I keep my own
Dig.
mellow. I say what I got to say, right?
A little,
And I don't mind. I
He
don't
got a
mind
shovel in the
looking.
back, don't he?
Yeah, I don't mind looking. I don't mind looking. I don't mind saying what I want to say and being me and being laughed at. I don't need fans, right? That's why guys like me, and that's why guys don't like me, but they really like me, but they don't like me, but they really like me.
What?
Like Q, yeah. So anyway, so look, what I was gonna say is this, man. One moment it's these guys are trash, man. You know what I mean? How to play either blow up or play the humble card. Hey, can I just address frame drop? I don't like the way you've been talking to me, pal.
Oh,
You
Oh,
just
boy.
got first of all,
Well,
you just got
let's-
here.
Let's do this too.
You just got here to the league. You're on a team. You got to win, and now you want to hide behind the win and laugh and joke and poke at me. You don't know me, my guy. You wanted me to draft you, and you were mad that I didn't think you were better than Tyreek Bryant. And so what you've been doing is coming at me, and I haven't addressed you directly because I'm letting you live. But I don't like this. You come on the chitty chatty patty stuff. You won't do that to me in voice. I guarantee that. So you keep it mellow. So don't come to me talking about humble parties and all this other stuff. Frame drop. With a name like Frame Drop, why don't you just drop off the whole scene right now, man? Because I don't need you coming in here telling me, what I need to be and what I do. I'm me all day. I am who I am. I say what I'm saying.
Hey.
And you just chill out. Just chill out, dude. Chill out.
All right, so
Now, back to what I'm saying.
yeah, what were you saying?
So anyway, you guys say, I've been a Desperado fan for a minute. Like I've been, like saying, oh, these guys are good. I love Tavion Hall. And, when those guys were doing good, you guys were like, oh my God, they shouldn't be this good, man. What in the world, right? And and then when they do well, you guys are like not giving them no love. So then this season, the guys they were terrible. In the beginning, you're like, oh, this is exactly how they should be playing, right? This is exactly how they should be playing. You're saying that. Then they blow out a team like the Snowhawks, and then last week they killed somebody else too, or whatever it was. And now you're like,
They didn't
oh,
kill anybody
yeah.
last week.
Oh yeah, these guys. Who they beat last week? They beat somebody last
They
week.
lost
didn't
last
they?
week.
What was it the week before?
I'm gonna get at you,
Anyway,
man. Okay,
no.
go ahead.
No.
No, last week they played the
Then
Explorers. Bill beat them.
Then you okay?
Yeah,
that's
wait
right.
a minute.
But before, who did they?
Well, I
play?
mean, if you
Did
ask
they win the
back,
game
they
before?
were upsetting me for like
They were pretty-
33 and a half minutes.
And they were pretty competitive. They've been pretty competitive at times, but you still have this thing where you're
They lost to
saying,
the Lancers the week before that in a blowout.
all right, I might be getting it wrong. It's fine. But what I'm saying is this. Look, I'm me all day, man. I'm me all day. What I'm saying is this. These guys here should not be beating the Snowhawks like this. They should not.
That's straddling the line, though.
That's what we're saying,
Oh,
though. I
now
don't
it's- now
understand
it's
that.
straddling the
Straddling
line.
because
Now it's
you were
straddling
just
the
saying
line.
this is your top team. Oh, they balling, they doing this, right? Okay, you were just saying that low end teams shouldn't be doing this. Now you see the Desperados doing it, and like, oh yeah,
not eating
Desperados.
someone up when it's a
Let's
one-sided discussion
don't worry about the
for a
chat. I wouldn't
podcast.
worry about the chat. Just put that between us.
So
So
these guys are talking all this chatty patty stuff.
it's a chat.
You know what?
That's what a chat is for.
All right,
But this is what
all
I'm
right,
saying.
I'll leave it alone. I'll leave it alone.
So this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, this team, yeah, they shouldn't be doing this, but this goes to show the reason why as well, that they have that there's factors that cause this. We know why the Snowhawks lost this game. We just explained it, so I'm not going to go all the way down the rabbit hole with that. What I am going to say though is not just because you are a powerhouse team does not mean you are going to win every game. Sometimes a team with the most talent, if they're not clicking, it could be for various factors, are not going to win many games because of factors. It has nothing to do with the players. I guarantee you, if you had put these players in the best scenarios for this game, which you have to do a bunch of testing, which you probably might not find, which you probably might find, if you found the right thing to put this team in, they will do that. But obviously, they're not, because Mitch hasn't found it. And this is not only for Mitch, this is for other teams that have lost top-end the games as well, right? If you look at every single team that's doing good, and that are top-end teams that are losing, they're losing because of certain factors. Yeah, at times you could throw in the game, but there's other underlying factors that is also causing this to happen. And on top of that, those teams that are in it, when you go back to those comparisons, the top-end teams are actually winning more times than not. It's just that people get shocked at times when a lower end team finds a way to win, but then you also got to. I would get Pat to do it, man. I'm not even going to second guess it because I know it's a fact.
You think the better teams win more than here in the RFL than the weaker teams?
If that was the case, wouldn't the weaker teams be in the top of the division right now?
Time out for a second.
Wouldn't they be on top of the conference right now?
Well, actually, they are.
No, they're
not. A
not.
lot of these weaker teams are killing some of the better teams. They are.
Yeah, the Thunderbirds beat me. They're weak.
No,
apparently not.
No, but this is the other thing too. This is the other thing too. I want to ingest. You got to stop talking about the Thunderbirds and the Explorers as if they're normal teams. They're not normal teams, and by
even
any
the
standard.
other teams are winning.
We take those guys out the equation.
The Bulldogs, even though we're talking about them not doing as well, they're 6-2. They're still beating the teams that they're supposed
Bulldogs
to beat.
Were pretty good, right? Man. I don't have anything to say about the Bulldogs.
This is what I'm saying. And then if you look at other teams that are in that same category, they are winning. Yeah. You're going to have a few games you're not supposed to lose happen. It's just going to happen. That's why overalls don't matter. Because if it did, whoever had the highest overall would win a championship every year. It doesn't happen that way. So that's where where people have to really think that these results are happening because of other factors, that it could be within the game. Sometimes a game can kill you with a decision. Like, once again, to talk about the Huskies, they could have won the game off the field goal kick a week ago. Didn't do it. I'm not complaining. It happened. That could have happened to them. That could happen to anybody, but it's still more so rare that you lose a game because the game made that decision. Because what's happening is, if you were the better team and doing what you were supposed to do, you shouldn't even be in that situation to begin with. So whose fault really is it that you lost that game? Why is the Pioneers hanging around with the Huskies? You know what I'm saying? So you have to find factors in other ways to win those games. You have to prove why you're the better team every week. That's why it's any given Sunday.
That's because it's your hand versus your hand. So
yeah, so obviously it would make more sense. That even makes my argument more stronger. If I'm playing against myself and putting the teams in their best possible way, I know how to shut this other team down. So I'm putting it for both sides. So yeah, there's more likelihood that happens. Haven't you noticed that most CPU teams, when they play each other, those games are more competitive? Haven't you noticed?
What are you trying to say?
No, this is what I'm saying.
What are you trying to say?
Those games are more competitive this is the reason why. Those games are more competitive because of the simple fact that I control them. Those two teams, if I know what's going to happen, you're going to have more competitive game. I know how to shut down the other ones. Now, when coaches who are evenly yoked for the most part sit there and play each other, it's the same deal, right? It's the same exact deal. And then also, when you sit there and look at the CPU teams, the coaches that struggle, who we know, hey, he's a coach, but he really don't know what he's doing. He just surviving because the team finding ways to win. Aren't they losing? Mainly to the CPU teams too? Yes. Because
would you stop this campaign of you are the best coach in the world?
Look, I'm not saying that. No,
I'm not going to stand here for it.
You could push it that way, but this is the thing. Of course, I'm going to be more so in the driver's seat, and I'm being realistic here. I'm going to be more so in the driver's seat because I do have those experiences. So they're going to be more likely to do it. If these teams weren't getting that type of influence and they were the weaker end teams, remember, most of you guys have my prize winning teams. You are good coaches. You are winning. That's what you're supposed to do.
Not me.
Well, at the moment, you're not. You know what I'm saying? And who knows? It could be a bad season. That happens. But this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I know how to make a team play at its best as well due to my experience. So it's not going to be these pushover teams like it was in the past. They're going to compete. There's definitely going to compete against other CPU teams because I know what to do to neutralize their talents. So when you look at things like this, when it comes to team preparing, of course I'm better than Mitch. I'm gonna say that. I know that. Because on top of that, he's not that good. He hasn't proved to be that good of a coach. And it comes to his coaching scheme.
I think that's wrong to say on the podcast.
No, I'm not saying. But look, I'm not saying it in a way to degrade him. No, this is what I'm saying. Hear me with what I'm saying, not what I'm trying to say. Not saying it to degrade him, what I'm actually saying.
But the league hears that, and you know how they.
It doesn't. But this is what I'm saying. Let's be realistic here. Let's not be soft and take this to heart. Let's be realistic, right? Because this guy's job is on the line, and we know this, right? That's why I'm not shocked about this. People know exactly everything that I'm talking about. Because it's been talked about in the podcast. It doesn't matter. Look, you said, yeah.
Well, I guess you do say things about Roland, so I can't be.
Get him, chat.
I'm gonna be real. So I'm not worried about what the chat, like what any of that's going to be. I'm going to speak what I feel is real. Guys got their own opinion. You can say whatever in the chat. I'm not going to attack y'all in the chat. If y'all got your opinion, cool. I'm gonna tell it like it is.
I also didn't know he was on. I didn't know he was in the hot seat.
Yeah, I mean, he's been with. Which we talked about last week. So I'm not even gonna get back into that because we actually talked about that last podcast. So this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day,
Roland still catches the stray. It's not even.
At the end of the
sorry,
day,
Roland. I had to like try to find a way to make what he just said right.
Yeah,
no, I get it.
And what I said,
sorry about
for the
that,
most part is right because, like I said, it has nothing really to do, like with necessarily. Well, we know it is a problem in this situation with this game. Now, if it was somebody else that was a great coach in terms of getting his team prepared. Mitch is good as a coach in other ways, but we've seen throughout his career when it comes to end games, he fails in big moments like this, which he shouldn't. That's a trait that he has as a coach. I'm speaking out on that, right? Now, if I'm playing y'all, have I not lost to y'all with my better teams that I played? Have I not lost with CT against not many teams were better than you, Bill, but T-Birds beat you. But anyway.
One time in 2 years.
Beat you a couple times.
One time in 2 years.
But this is what I'm saying. At the end of the day, you guys can find ways to take down those teams because you just have better understanding and more experience in those areas. Experience in terms of time you've been around does not necessarily mean that you know what you're doing, right? It doesn't mean, and sometimes it could be the team that you're working with. Like Mitch probably just does not know, like, he's probably getting more so affected by the fact that he's dropping these games because he knows how great his talent is on the team, which is creating an effect where he's overthinking and he's making the team get even worse instead of actually doing what he feels the team needs to do and finding ways to win games that way. That's what I think it is. He could go somewhere else and be better, in my opinion, because he doesn't have to revolve that pressure. Pressure is not going to be good for certain people. For Mitch, honestly, for 5 years, that has been the case. So to go back into the Desperados winning this game, I'm not shocked that they won by this margin. That they won period in this game. Now, they shouldn't have won period. I'm going to still say the Desperados are still one of the worst teams that should not be winning most of the games. Because if you look at this team on paper, they're not good. And they're proving that this year. And when have we actually been wrong about this team? We said when they went to the playoffs, they were going to get smacked in the first round every time. Because we know they're not like that. They could get these wins in the regular season. As soon as they get to the postseason, what happened? Punched on. Now it's showing. Got a good win against the Snowhawks, but you look at the rest of the games this year, they're losing games that if they were like that, they would have won it again. But they didn't. Anyway, moving on to the next game. And this is another example. If good teams don't win, what's going on? 35-0.
That's a rough one.
You know, like, good teams are mostly winning. I'm not saying by this margin, but they're winning. Toronto Thunder, there's really nothing too much to say about this. Literally, LC3 had the exact same game as Kyle Bain. He had 5 touchdowns in this game, 2 rushing, 3 passing, and the Tigers shut out in this game. I'm going to play the bell for the Tigers, because this is not shocking, but I'm going to play it just for this one thing I'm going to say. The field goal, y'all could have had points if you kicked the field goal. You didn't hear what I belled them for.
Thunderbirds.
You didn't hear what I belled them for.
Yeah, you just said that if they kick field goals. I get it.
No, if they kicked the opening field goal, they wouldn't have got shut out. I'm not shocked about the shutout. I'm not belling them because they did get shut out. I mean, this could have been avoided if they didn't fake the kick.
I just think that we can't use the Thunderbirds and Explorers as any kind of example of good teams winning.
But how
Because
not
these
if they're
teams-
good teams?
No, these teams are all the way out of this universe good. They're not like the average good teams. They're the
Where does the Thunderbirds rank in terms of team
they're
overall?
overstacked. They're
Where does
overstacked.
Where does
bro.
the Thunderbirds rank in terms of team
Doesn't
overall
matter
in the
because
RFL?
you know what? It doesn't matter because some 80 overall teams are better than other 80 overall teams. So that doesn't matter.
Okay, so that means
we know
anybody
we
can
know
lose,
we
right?
know we know we know that this team here is absolutely stacked from top to bottom. They don't have a single. They can get an injury and keep moving. The same with the Explorers. They are absolutely stacked. 3 teams. They could beat you with their third string.
Bulldogs, Red Dragons.
So I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, I just think that sometimes, no, I don't think the Bulldogs and Red Dragons
Voyagers?
are of those calibers, man. They're not.
they
no,
have
they're
those
not
same
the caliber.
players.
No,
They have
they're not
those
the
same
caliber,
players,
man. It's not-
and
it's
they
not the
actually
same
have higher
caliber.
overalls than those teams.
No.
But I
it
think
doesn't
it's
matter.
I think it's where the pieces are though.
These teams are
Sometimes
different.
like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
the Thunderbirds
That's why
are
those can win
way
games.
yeah, the Thunderbirds are way different than almost every team because they have legit the best one in the top 2 defensive ends in the entire RFL on the same
get that.
team. So like even though they're not the highest overall, the fact that they have 2 guys that can probably by Madden's ways with the abilities can apply pressure from greater distance, they have a better chance of shedding those blocks. And we know that most of the RFL teams don't have the most solid offensive linemen because it's just not one of the strong suits of the RFL. It feeds right into why the Thunderbirds are so good, and because they get that, guys like ESJ on the back end are just killing it because the quarterback is constantly throwing off target. They're not getting out. They're not getting their feet set. They're not feeling comfortable. It's just a perfect recipe for this defense. So like
Can
it's
we not
completely
use the
different.
same argument for the reason why the Aviators are successful?
We can. I'm just stating. I'm actually agreeing how like you were trying to say that they're not even the best overall, but yet they play that way, and I'm just agreeing as to why I feel that way. It's like it's specific pieces that just make them almost unstoppable, no matter what you do. And
these teams
it's
are-
frustrating.
and it's not just this year, Smitty. I mean, even the previous years. I mean, we've seen this defense win half the season for them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying these 2 teams are what Thor and an Apollo, or whatever you want to call them. They're way OP, way too strong, and I just don't consider them to be. Because even when you say this too, and you joke about it, but you're serious. When I say, "Yep, Cougars going to the Relo Bowl," shit, you gonna be able to beat them Thunderbirds? You gonna be able to beat them Explorers?
Yeah,
because you
'cause
already know that those teams are ridiculously good. Now you wouldn't be saying that if it was another team that was good. You say,
I wasn't
okay,
saying that
maybe
about
I've got a
CT
chance,
when I played you.
Well, CT,
I
I'm
wouldn't say
gonna
that.
tell you.
Look, I would
CT
never say that to a team that I know
CT
isn't better than you.
CT was only in this discussion with the Thunderbirds and Explorers because of Drake Crowell. CT still is doing good. Your hand is there involved in that, and they're doing good, but they are not elite good like the Thunderbirds and the Explorers, and they can definitely lose games to weaker teams and to teams who are not up there either. They can lose those games, but we're not talking about CT. We're talking about the Thunderbirds and the Explorers, and you cannot put those teams in the
Even
same
if you take
tier
those teams away,
as,
though,
as good teams.
Even if you take those teams away, are not the dominant teams still dominating the ones? Which again, this is not just this is me being real, so I don't care if I say this or not. At the end of the day, if you have a good coach around that, and you have a good team, they're going to win. Period. 9 times out of 10, the more successful team with a good coach and a good talented roster is going to win. And that's it. That's the truth. That's been happening this season. You're going to get some upsets. That's football. That's going to happen. But the more dominant teams are actually dominating the competition that they should. And at the times that they're not, why aren't they doing it? I bet you not. Most of the coaches can tell you why they lost the game.
Yeah,
they know why they lost.
We also, I just want to say this because we also kind of getting redirected, So I just want to make sure we stay on.
No, I mean, it wasn't nothing really too much to say about this. I mean, LC3 just dominated.
This is
it's
there's not much to
man.
say for this one, man. Like, sorry for Kai Cash and Stein and the rest of the Tigers.
Kai beat the Rattlers, didn't he? He said he beat the Rattlers 20-10.
20-10?
Yeah.
Who did? The Tigers.
The Rattlers,
Yeah, and this is what I'm saying. Well, I'm not going to get into that topic, but this is what I'm saying. Kai Cash Nah, I ain't gonna do him like that. I'm not doing him. But you my guy, man. Just know I'm gonna save you on this. We can probably talk about VC.
Hey, all good, Kai.
All I'm gonna say is 6 of 27. But
Dang, man. Come on now. He is a good dude.
He's a great dude. He's a great dude. But
Come on now.
I'm gonna say this: Armadillos, Pioneers. Again, not really too much to talk about here. Pioneers. We could say this about the Armadillos. This team they should make the playoffs because their schedule is not that hard. But this game, honestly, with the way they started out, gives me mad doubts about how they were performing in the playoffs. I mean, it's only 3 points that you beat them by. And granted, these dudes did beat the Huskies. I mean, this was a very competitive game. But at the end of the day, you know, Chumlee's still having he's starting to get in his struggle mode now. You know that this happens from time to time. And he can lead a team to the playoffs. And like I said, nobody expects this team to win no Relo Bowl or nothing like that. But at least take them somewhere deep in the playoffs, right? They get it done here at home, 19-16. Nothing really too much for me to say about this. Another guy who dropped down off of Dev and still balled is Carlos Berry, as he had a few touchdowns in this game. And they hold on to now be 7-2 on the season.
The only thing I got about this is I'm pretty sure, I'm about 95.
Said, let's go there, Smitty.
96% sure that's not even Carlos Berry's right face.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Man, you
Nope.
know,
You wanna bet?
7-2.
You want to bet?
I'll bet you. I'll bet you $10.
I'm not betting no money.
I'm about to say, I bet because
I'm telling you right now,
Carlos Berry's face. He had that.
I'm
last
gonna
year.
go look it up.
You'll look it up.
Yeah, I'm not saying that last year's face was right either.
Yeah, but a decent amount of guys' faces changed various times. You know, like,
Oh,
and we can blame some of the coaches that
I'm
were
gonna
here.
prove.
and
I'm
that are
gonna
here
prove it,
now.
Darius. I'm gonna prove it, Darius. I'm sick of this.
But you
sick of
can't
this.
really do that against the.
Oh, I
OG.
can prove it. I can prove
No,
it.
I'm saying if he had this face last year, you're wrong. Anyway, because
No, I'm not.
You know how many players' faces actually changed?
Out of
8
8 years, this guy had a face wrong for one of them, and all of a sudden you can't. No,
There's a ton of players' faces that got changed
Stop.
up, and you want to know why? Because of coaches. They didn't. I would sit there and tell some coaches like, "Yo, keep the face you got." There's some coaches sitting up here still kind of doing what they want, and then because I can't see everything, they get away with it. And then I'm not gonna catch everything. So you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, I what I'm shocked about with Chumlee, you know, being 7-2, is that this guy is, you know, he's got 15 tutties, 12 interceptions, and 24 sacks, and he's 7-2, man. It's, you know, those are pretty. That sounds pretty bad to me, man.
Yeah, the picks lately he's been
you know,
throwing a lot.
And it's just, you know, it's just remarkable, man, to see him in this position, man. So, you know, I don't have much to say about it. It's a good win, and then they move up the board. And yeah, you're right. Maybe the schedule is going to take them into the promised land of the playoffs. But boy, I really would hate to see them who they play.
Yeah, their schedule was pretty cake.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to the next premier game. Man, Steamers. My gosh. This team is back.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Yes,
they
they
blew the
are.
Wizards out 41-9.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest here. The only reason
You know how I know that the Steamers. Oh, I'm sorry, Spinny. Go ahead. My
the
bad.
only reason I really don't have this team as the number one team is because we have to see what they do against the two teams on top, right? And they play both of them this season. So that's going to tell a lot. But the Steamers, if I had to be real, for this year, this is the true number one team in the RFL. I have to say it because of the fact that the offense is virtually untouchable. You can't do nothing with these guys. Reed Wagner snapping, and Amir Williams is starting to come into his own, which means they can do whatever they want. And then the defense has been very solid. And I just think that, you know, it's tough to say because, you know, I can't wait to see them play the Explorers and the Thunderbirds. But this team still, like, in my opinion, I cannot sit here and say that they do not have a good chance to beat both of them. That's how good the Steamers are doing this year. And I love what I'm seeing. I love the bounce back because finally Jones is back actually doing something. And you're seeing the results here this season.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I just feel like this game probably ends up being like 60-0 if Reed Wagner is not wearing a running back face mask. So
He stay wearing that.
Yeah. You know,
no, he hasn't. No, he
He
hasn't.
had that same face mask last year. Is that is that a 3-bar? No, he did
Yeah.
have that same face mask.
He's got a 3-bar running back face mask,
Yeah.
robot running back. This is not a quarterback face mask, guys.
Well, it has been for. I think he's actually wore that face mask for a few years.
Pretty sure he was wearing a 2-bar like 2 years ago.
Might have been.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I just know the side things were there. What you got to say, Rob?
You know,
Hall monitor.
well, first of all, I know the Steamers are onto something because Justin Jones is irritating me in Discord and in YouTube. I hate when he gets chatty, and some of you others will learn that. He's a very quiet guy, but he's very serious about Memphis, and he will get chatty, and you don't want him to get chatty because then he'll start to annoy you. And that absolutely grinds my gears.
Because he can pull all the receipts too.
Yeah, he pulls receipts, and he's kind of like Mitch in a sense.
Yeah.
As far as like, well, he's not like Mitch; he's his own self, but he has a deep knowledge of the league.
Yeah,
And
I get what
if
you're saying.
If he gets chatty with you, you want to just have several seats.
You better
and
know what
when
you're
I-
talking
when I-
about.
Yeah, and so he's kind of started to annoy me a little bit. I see him his little shots in Discord. That's how I know they're on a roll. I always will have a lot of respect for Justin Jones and the Steamers. The storyline is just ridiculous. Last year was a fluke, and to everybody who were poking fun of them, let him get tore down, behind his back when he was out serving the country. Shame on you. He's in a comfortable mode now. I want to say he's either coming back to the States soon or things are more mellow in his life now, and he's had time to dedicate to the game. And it's not a fluke, right? He's figured some things out, and he's actually amassed a pretty good team, which people were saying they were trash last year. And following, guys were just following bandwagons. You know what I mean? People talking about this team. This team is a very good team, and I said this a couple of years ago that this is one of the youngest teams. Well, they had the most guys under 25, and I knew that with the way he develops players, that this team would start to become a powerhouse. And as Smitty's language has now changed about the Steamers, yeah, they are looking like the number one team in the league. And for just cause, it's right. But at the same time, I just again, I just want to say that this is Wizards. Don't hold your head, man. This is like Rommel. Don't hold your head here. Try harder. But this guy knows what he's doing with this team, man. And this is one of those teams.
Gotta make this closer.
Huh? You say, yeah.
Chill, G. Shit, gotta make this closer, man. Can't be getting blown out like this at home.
Yeah. I get
Take
you,
the bell,
man.
son. But nah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Dang.
Shout out to Rumble, man.
yeah.
It's my guy, though.
I get it, man. So yeah, hey, there it is. Sheesh.
Yeah, I am the hall monitor, Q. I am. Somebody's got to keep some law and order around here when it comes to gear and equipment. Okay? Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, no shocks really here, man. Well, I did think this game would be close. I'm not going to lie, because the Wizards aren't this much of a team to get done in like this against a good caliber team. Usually they hold their weight a little bit. So, I mean, I think this just speaks more to volumes on how good the Steamers really are. Because even though they haven't faced the top talent yet, which is like I said, they have to wait till they play the Explorers. They have to wait till they play the Thunderbirds. Their talent, their games they haven't played top tier talent like that yet, right? But I will say this, if they're doing solid talent like this, they can hang. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, well, what I wanted to say is what I'm watching with Reed Wagner Jones. If you're listening right now, congratulations! You found a way to stop him from throwing interceptions. And
he's still
I think
throwing
that
He got 3. That boy's
Doesn't
balling.
he have a turnover issue?
No, Smitty say
That boy got
only 3.
He's only got 3
Say
interceptions.
only, yeah, because I remember many nights ago, Smitty was giving you a hard time about that.
That was a
He used
joke,
to always
though.
give you a hard time. Oh, it wasn't a joke at the time.
Was.
It was like
I argued with him
whatever.
and you knew that. We argued with him for 6 hours just to argue with him.
So it was always Reed Wagner
I
has to
knew
throw an interception, and he was like, "Oh man," he was arguing it. 15, 16 interceptions. And man, I know I'm proud I'm proud that my dog has got this guy under control, man, because I remember those interceptions used to be outlandish.
And that's why I
miss
said it
some
also.
games,
Then
though.
it was a joke. Like he just threw interceptions at the wrong time. If you look at his interception counts, it's in the earlier seasons, yeah, it was up there, but it was never like crazy high, right? Yeah. So it was just like the times in which he threw the picks was just always the worst times, which got him kicked out of Orlando in the first place. Yeah. But like the last 3 to I can even say 4 years, that really hasn't been a problem. Like I will say, because last couple of years he threw it still at the worst times, but he was never really that type of quarterback that actually threw a ton of interceptions. To be honest, he just threw them at the worst possible times you could throw them. But Lancers, got to play the bell for them. They got blown out by the Diablos last time, but this just puts the icing on the cake even worse. 54. I thought he was going to put up 80. I'm not going to lie. It was 30-0, I think, in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it was 30-7, but I think it was definitely 30-0 first. And then they were able to score 24 more points in the second half. The Lancers, this team this year, man, are just terrible. And honestly, the main guy I got to point out here, which I didn't want it to be, and I had to take the dev away from him, Trey Mason, man. Which really hurt him in this game. He had no abilities. And first drive. But this is what I'm saying. No abilities, and he was struggling with them. All right? He was already struggling with the abilities.
He struggled more without him.
You take the abilities away, he's definitely even worse. So now he throws a pick, boom, take him to the crib, done for. And then the Diablos just cook these guys through the pass game. And I will say this as well. Lane Kearney is a dog. I don't know what it is, but he's back in his prime days here with Mexico City. The last 2 RFL games they did take L's, though. They definitely took L's. But I will say that Lane Kearney, this season, he's got the Lancers defense figured out. I mean, he's just dotting them up. The coverage of the Lancers defense in terms of their corners, horrible. They've just been getting destroyed all season. They only got 1 win this year, which was a dominant win, as I talked about earlier, over the Desperados a few weeks back. But other than that, I mean, it just hasn't been their year. They can't run the football, multiple interceptions through the air. And Mexico City Diablo showed, hey, we are the much better team than the Lancers in the South. And they just got that done by a huge margin. And honestly, I think that the Lancers scored those last like 10 points in like the final seconds, the final quarter. So this could have been a shutout. I thought it was going to be a shutout. But it was obviously you have those moments where the team just steps back and says, I'm not going to put everything on the table. They start playing a 3-man rush, leaving things open, and plays get made, garbage time plays. And that's what made them get to 17 points. But, I mean, this was them from start to finish. Nothing else really for me to say on this.
I was going to say something nice about the Diablos, but then Forbes said that he was going to give his center the number 0, so now I'm not going to say anything.
I don't know why guys are even entertaining 0, because I know the NFL is talking about it. We are not.
Oh, they're not talking about it. They already did it.
They're actually doing it. Yeah, we're not doing that. So,
there it is, guys. No zeros.
In the RFL.
No zeros for you guys.
Ain't no zeros going down.
Yeah, all I can say is what a difference Lane Kearney can make, man. Jesus.
Yeah. They were always a quarterback away, right? We talked about this for like 2-3 years. All they needed was a quarterback. Now they got one, and they're balling. Of course, they took those 2 losses, but this is still a very good team in the RFL, man. Can't wait to see how they perform in the playoffs, though. That's where they're really going to get battle tested. Moving on to the next game. I had to use a different picture because I didn't get no photos for this game, so I'm going to play the bell. L. Reed. Well, I can't put it on Ramos because I had him record it, but he couldn't record it, so he had Reed to record it. And, Reed. Where the flicks at, man?
I thought you were going to say the F word there. No. Oh, I thought you were about to say where the
where the flicks at. But anyway, 31 to 25. The game got closer in the fourth quarter, but the Monarchs really was dogging the Shamrocks majority of this game. It was 31-7 and all the way until the fourth quarter came up. Shamrocks did score 18 points, though. This was the first X Factor game for Tom Wilson. He had a touchdown, 1 interception. And
what?
Yeah. And so after that, what?
He's never had X Factor before?
No, he just earned it after the. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Why did I not know that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's always been.
I thought he had it this whole time.
Actually, I think he He might not have. That's crazy.
Dang.
I could have sworn he did have X Factor though, like 2-3 years ago, something like that. But nah, yeah, he was at Superstar for a minute.
Oh, Hodge says he had it.
He had it. But yeah, last year he was at Superstar. Or maybe he dropped down to Superstar afterwards. I don't know. So the X Factor, the only reason he went off in the fourth. Yeah, fourth quarter he went crazy. But what you guys' thoughts on this? I mean, Monarchs, they bounced back really good. They took a tough loss to the Steamers, right? They could have beat the Steamers. Could have been the first one to beat them last week and lost 17-10, 17-20. And then, they go ahead and get the win here at home, and they defeat the Shamrocks.
How many yards did the halfback have for Dublin?
Not much at all. He only had one touchdown. They were right at the goal line. That's the only time they were able to run.
Yeah, I noticed that the Monarchs have been doing very good against the rush this season. I want to say they're one of the top 5 teams over there against the rush, man. But really liking what Ramos has been doing with the Monarchs. Sorry to cut out a term, Bill, but it's just one thing that stands out with the Monarchs is that the ability to stop the run. And man, 6-3, man. Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about the Monarchs. I think that I can see this game going the way that it did. I did expect, I guess I should say, I expected Dublin to put up more points offensively just because Wilson is so dynamic and that offense is so awesome when him and Woods are on a roll. But we've seen this before with the Shamrocks. If you can knock them off balance a little bit, you can really knock them out of rhythm. And the Monarchs are, I think, a really good team. Another team sort of like maybe not as good as the Riverhogs, but they're like right in that tier where it's like teams that are really good but don't really get talked about enough. So I think this is a good win for the Monarchs.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the final premier game. Must win it was really for both teams, but more so for the Gunners due to their fall off, right? And they managed to get it done in a close one. Expectations that this game would be really good to watch. It was. And I'm still going to give my credit to the Barons because they played well. I mean, both sides really actually did play well. And I got to give a shout out to Tyler Cage, man, for doing, not the real person, but the player, because he ain't never show up. But Tyler Cage, this guy had a Alabama moment in the pros. Dude had a pick 6. If it wasn't for that pick 6, I don't think the Gunners win this game. They get that pick 6. He takes it to the crib. And they go up 10-9, and then you see Jabri Jackson get into a rhythm, start passing, get a touchdown, things of that nature, and they win by 2 points. But it was a valiant effort, nonetheless, by the Barons. I'm still liking what I've been seeing out of them these past 3 weeks. I really do like that they're competing, and we just got a great game that the Gunners came out on top of. Now they're over 500, 5-4.
Yeah, this is a weird game because if this was last year, you'd be like, well, this is actually an underperformance by the Gunners. But this year, it's actually been a very weird year for them. And I think the Barons have, in recent weeks, really turned things around and look like a completely different team than we saw in week 1 and 2, and even 3. So I think this is a really good game. I think it's good for the Gunners because they need this almost more than the Barons. I know the Barons, I know Roland is going for, he's on the hot seat and all that, but the Gunners had way too high of expectations. Even on a good year for Roland, that's probably, getting into wild card, maybe, sticking with me and the Thunderbirds in the division. But for the Gunners, they were supposed to be one of the teams, one of like the 3 top teams. So much needed win for them, and good to see Cage finally starting to get involved a little bit and doing what we thought he would be able to do from the get-go.
Yeah, I just looking on at Roland's schedule here, and man, this is a tough loss. Definitely a tough loss. He absolutely needed this game against the Gunners. He's going to need the game against Dublin, and then he got to face the Steamers. He's going to have to fight for his life there. Then he has the NFL game, and then he has Thunderbirds, another NFL game, and he has the Explorers. So the only, the only good thing about that is he gets a chance to work against the CPU team to find strategies to try to win these games. But you never know what happens, man. What if he goes on a streak, man? Here, I don't know. But definitely this loss here says a lot about where they are currently as a team. But I do like that he has had some success in the last couple of weeks.
I like what he's doing, man, right now. Just keep with it. Like, just keep with what's going on. This is what we should have seen multiple years, with this organization since you've taken over, And as long as he keeps doing this, I have no issue, And even in this loss, they were competitive. They did the best they could. That's what I want to see from this team. And I know the schedule is hard from the rest on. Just keep having them play as close as possible like this. I'm not saying it's going to be close every time. I mean, you got the T-Birds still on the schedule, and the Explorers. But at the end of the day, we've seen you compete with these teams before and make it close, competitive in some ways. And those other teams, you can do the same. So, shout out to, once again, the Barons for putting up the fight, and a big shout out to the Gunners because they really needed this. And because, technically this team is still not eliminated from the playoff talk. They got to climb a steep mountain.
Yeah,
but
I saw someone
they are
come
not
in
eliminated.
and say that to him.
I'm talking about the Gunners.
Oh, the Gunners. Okay.
Yeah. It's in terms of the Barons at this point, I don't see it. But because you do have the Explorers and the Thunderbirds again, that's already 2. You got your 5th loss off of this game alone. So yeah, I don't see it really happening. But just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. That's all I want to see out the Barons. Moving on, we got 3 games left, and man, it's been a tough one, Rob. It's been a tough one, Rob. Like 5-3. Miners, I'm shocked with though. I gotta play the bell, of course, for you. But the Miners, I'm very shocked with, mainly because of this guy right here. Miles McCain has been a dog for a rookie. This game, I have to really give him his credit because a lot of the throws that were being made were elite level throws that you typically see on the better quarterbacks. And it's not like he just done this one time. He has done this more consistently throughout this season. So that to me tells me the talent level he's got. He's meshing well with this team. And I don't know if you guys remember that back shoulder throw by Pablo Frederick. Not a lot of quarterbacks is throwing that either. That's usually just a toss-up, 50-50. How's it going? He was placing passes in places where only his receiver could get the ball and giving his offense and receivers the optimal opportunity to make the play. That's what's going to actually make the Miners a tough team this year. And what it is, they had their struggle period. But I thought the struggle for this team was actually going to be longer. It's not being that now because Miles McCain is actually balling. With Miles McCain actually playing the quarterback role this good now, Miners are capable of winning the South. Miners are capable still of going to the playoffs. Not saying they're going to win nothing, still. But this quarterback alone has changed a lot of things. And they got to work on the run game. That'll really help.
That's the one thing I was actually going to say. Kai Cash just said in the chat, and I'm sort of read his comment. It says, Coach Dunn game plan for Miles has been outstanding. Dunn doesn't get enough credit for managing Miles. And I think that is a very, very big point there because while McCain has done very well, and he deserves the credit for that, anytime you play with a rookie quarterback, a lower overall quarterback, one that you came into the season maybe with not as high of expectations. Yes, of course, you say the coach thing like, I expected this the whole time. But come on now. We all know behind the door when we're doing our own private thinking, we're like, man, this is going to be rough. Mm-hmm. But he found ways to get him into place. He had the team. That was why that was one of the biggest issues we had all offseason was why did you jettison your quarterback when your team can win right now? And we were like, what the heck? But he had a plan. McCain, he comes in and he's put him to the test and he's answered the test very well. And I just think that Dunn does deserve a very big pat on the back for this because it's not easy, man. This Madden is very volatile. We've seen that with many teams. For him to be able to put a 72 overall or 73 overall, whatever it was, at the beginning of the season in 70. There and be able 70 and go up against these teams and perform well, that's a really good job.
It's a good collaboration, just before you interject here, Rob, because at the end of the day, look at the steps that Dunn actually took to make to improve the possibility of McCain's development of being this good, right? Offensive lineman, which is why they actually struggled in the run game. He put everything towards his offensive lineman being pass blocking offensive lineman first. He wanted to make sure that his rookie was protected as much as possible. And he's been doing nothing but dumping upgrades and even Patreon on the linemen to make sure that they can pass block for this kid. It has benefited. The run game has suffered from it, but he had a solid run game in this game. With that, how consistent will that be? We don't know. On top of that, the teamwork of everything he put in place of the rookies he drafted, the fact that his rookies are here and actually staying here, getting reloads, upgrading their player, everything he said panned out because the players did their job too. This is what can happen when you have good community members and you have good players that actually stick around for the long haul, that see the vision, is having fun, enjoy the league just as much as you, and they want to make an impact. They want to be the next great. Miles McCain obviously wants to be the next great in this league. Anthony Fry obviously wants to be the next great tight end in this league. Even Pablo Frederick returned back because he saw the type of energy this team, was fostering with these guys. So now Frederick's balling. He's back. He's upgrading his player. This is a recipe for success. The Miners got a way to go still, but this alone is really going to put them there in a much faster, at a much faster pace. And in the fact that they're doing this behind such a great defense that they got, because their defense is up there, man. It's A1 and has been for a little minute. And you just got to give it to them. Of course, we got some more things to dive into this game. Rob, we understand the situation. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I'm usually opposed to benching quarterbacks in the half, but I'm gonna be honest. Did I sound anything like Drake Crowell when you was about to bench him? No, I could see why, because Geno wasn't getting it done. Geno was obviously getting destroyed in that game, and you have to credit the Miners defense. And one of the things I spoke on in this game, Rob, and we can have this back and forth on this, is the offensive line. It hasn't just been this week. It hasn't been last week. Every single game you guys lost has been because of those guys up front when it comes to pass protection. Yeah. Geno Gannon is an improviser-style quarterback. We've seen every single improviser-style quarterback in this league, when they don't get that protection up front, they get jittery. It doesn't even matter how great they are. This happened to Tom Wilson. This happened to Jabri Jackson beginning of the season. If the line up front isn't getting it done, and I can give it to them, and here's another statistical fact to say about those three teams that you did lose against is up there with the best defensive lines in the league. The Huskies, we saw what additions they made. Of course, the Miners we talked about. And who'd you lose to the week before this? Sentinels defensive lines ridiculous with Wendell Demache. And they got other players. Ivory Odom. I could go on. This is what the issue is. What I'm seeing from this standpoint, Cougars are struggling from not getting the quarterback play because the line could not handle the pass rush. Now, one thing I will say this, though, that's not to say they're still not good. That's not to say you can't ball. But it's showing the likelihood of being successful against a talented defensive line is the problem. When you play up against teams that's not their strong suit, I've noticed the Cougars, they get it done. So I think it's the offensive line up front that is really causing the issues here for Chicago offensively. Defensively, I don't feel like you guys are doing a bad job like that, because at the end of the day, there's some areas that definitely needs improvement. But I don't think you're doing as bad as a job because you're not getting the support from the offensive side of the ball. It's quick 3 and outs. Geno Gannon's quickly, if he's getting that pressure and he's throwing that ball away, where are the yards going to be? So, and when I bring up those points, what is your thoughts on that? What is your thoughts on this game and the outcome and how it came? 3 straight losses here at home. What's going on in your mind with this organization right now?
Yeah, before the fanboys and the Miners players who have a lot of gold standard pride right now get upset, anything I say, I'm just from the bottom of my heart. Don't take offense to it. It's not that personal, okay? I'm appalled I'm appalled, man, at a loss like this. Where I'm at in my coaching career, I thought I was better than that, and I just lost to a 70 overall quarterback, and it's embarrassing. Um, I've lost 3 home games by 30-point blowouts, right? And I'm embarrassed, and I'm probably a little salty, upset, confused, angry, all these things. So I'm on edge. So anything you say to me is gonna be, you know, what? Because that's where I'm at. I'm a winning coach. I'm a winning coach. You know what I'm saying? So I think guys lose the perspective because they just see the voice, and the arrogance at times, but they don't understand where I'm at. I mean, that was embarrassing losing at home to a 70 overall quarterback. That should never happen and a coach in my position. And so I take that, I own that. Um, but I do think that you're right on a lot of situations. I've been looking at the line for the past few days, and the line is just in shambles, man. I hadn't really looked too deep into it because I thought that we had some overalls, and I thought that we had some. I looked at some things, man. I looked at something with Rich Walski, and I said, Jesus, no wonder. You know what I'm saying? And so I began to do some very aggressive things. You know how I do, man. I'm the ghost of winter, man. You know what I mean? So it's winter time. It's the second half of the season. I've done some things with the offensive line that's kind of scary to me, but I think it's going to be for the better. Um, the defensive line is not getting enough pressure. That's been annoying to
That's
me, and
another
so
factor, yep.
we're changing the defensive book. We're changing the offensive book as well. That's going to change, and I'm just doing some retooling, I guess you could say, with the players that I do have, so that I can salvage the season. Um, so the second half, we got a big game this weekend against the Aviators, and I'm preparing for that. But I feel that the second half of the season, we're going to see a better Cougar team. But yeah, I'm just at a loss of words, man. We've had 3 losses there. I mean, these are not typical Cougar losses. No matter, I know people get happy when we lose, you know what I mean? But these guys know it's not a typical Cougar loss, man. You know what I mean? No one says, "Oh, we're going to go in there and blow them out 30-0." You know what I mean? No one says that against us, right? But that's what's been happening, and it's devastating. I own it, and just I have to say hats off to the Miners for getting it done against us. That's all. That's all I have to say, man.
And this is the thing I was talking about, which is why I say overalls aren't everything, because it could be factors in the game where your players against certain teams just can't be better than, Yeah. And offensive line is one of the hardest places, especially in this league, to address, because for one, there's a handful of elite, like barely that.
I would just be honest, man. It's anybody can see it. It's not like it's public record, man. Bro, you guys got to get in the weight room, bro. Because, guys, the strength on, 77, 79 strengths, man. I literally, I'm going to be honest. I'm bringing up the young guys, man. I'm bringing up Caleb Bright, and I'm bringing up Jesse Ortiz, my young guys, old linemen, because they got 90+ strength, man. The ratings, I'm bringing up all my strong guys, man.
And that's tough to do too. I just want to say this real fast. Yeah. That's tough because even though they're stronger, that doesn't guarantee you better. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because there's some areas where this lineman is going to be, even though he might not have been that strong, he's still better than them at holding up in this situation, and that's what makes it tough.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know it's going to be rough for this, but I mean, I got to get somebody that can hold a block for 3 seconds, man. You know what I'm saying? This guys are with Kowalski. I don't mean to, this is a veteran, guys. This guy's got 77 strength, man.
That's pretty tough.
It's just guys are just. Whew.
And again, what position did he play for you?
He's played left tackle for me.
Tackle, right?
Kowalski, yeah, left tackle.
That's what I'm talking about,
tough, man.
He could be an 80-something overall lineman.
Yeah.
Exactly what I said. The defensive lines you face, who's rushing off the edge?
Yeah, no, yeah.
Wendell
DeMonche's, but I get it, man.
Burley, and then the other one, for the Huskies, Calvin Lunsford. That alone is, it tells you why, and this is why. Just to back up my points from earlier, just to bring it up for real quick, that's why things differ depending on who you play.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why upsets happen. That's why certain outcomes happen, because it's little things like that. You can't find out all the factors, but it could be just as little as one attribute being weaker than the other, or you having a better attribute, but your fatigue is lower, so you can't sustain this attribute.
Yeah, the fatigue is another thing too, man.
Fatigue,
Stamina.
and I've said this, fatigue is the second most important attribute for any player in Madden when it comes to playing the game the way we play. Because fatigue determines how long is your player going to play at this level. If you are a 99 overall cornerback wondering why you're getting beat by a 75 overall wide receiver, he's probably got 95 stamina, while your corner is probably sitting at like 85, 84, something like that. And his route running might not be that great, but those man coverage levels are not staying at 90. They're dropping into 80s, even as much as the 70s. And you can see this because it happens within the game, because what happens when the injury happens? What props up on the screen? It lets you know the fatigue levels and what he's going to come back in. That actually happens still within the game while it's playing play to play. So it's so many factors on why you can lose or win a game. That's why I can't say anything about outcomes, because it could be anything. Difference of a play call. The certain player just happened to be this play getting called and with this certain defense called, and he just being in this position at the right time. It is football. That happens, you know. I did give my ups to the minors. I think we did. So
I did want to speak on something though, because I caught it, and I was a gentleman about it because I wanted them to have their time. But I listened to you, Dunn, on your podcast telling me about, subbing out my quarterback, man. And I'm just gonna say that while I understand your point of view, the way you came off was if like it was the most idiotic thing that I could possibly have done. And like I don't think that you actually were watching that game, and I think you were just trying to get views and be funny at the time. And I get it because I'm a funny guy and I joke and everything. But I hope you weren't really serious about some of the things you were saying, because to me they were outlandish, and your co-commentators as well feeding into that mess. That guy gave up a lot for us in a short amount of time. And it was apparent that your team was ready to do more, like more damage, right? And I made a call to sub him out, right? Because I was fearful for his life, basically, right? Like, you guys were literally insta-shedding every play, and we were in a passing book and a gun. And so I made that decision because it was the right decision to make at that point. And I don't think guys understand that, like how ugly that could have gotten. And then if he's injured, right, or if the morale continues to dip because he's now got 3 more turnovers added to his stat sheet, how much that ruins the morale of the player, right? So I'm looking at it like from a baseball point of view, right? Like I got to get somebody else the loss, not my other guy the loss here. You know what I'm saying? Because I still need this guy at the toughest part of my season coming up. You know what I mean? And so I don't make idiotic decisions. I don't think I've been that kind of coach that's been in the news for making idiotic decisions. This is a different season for me, and I'm struggling a bit here, and I have probably done some things that I wouldn't normally do. But when someone tries to like make it seem as if like I made some wild, decision that made no sense, when my QB had thrown 2 picks and a fumbleooski for a 6. And I'm getting destroyed, and they're insta-shedding me, and it's looking like a nightmare. And I do that, and you make it news on your channel just to poke fun. And I thought that was kind of whack, man, But I gave y'all flowers. It's all good. But yeah, man, I didn't like that, man. But It's all good, man.
Shows, this shows like just like when we come at people gonna throw their shots. They're going,
Yeah.
They
I was like, what is he doing?
What was
Really?
the score at
Yeah.
the time of that happening?
27-0.
27.
Oh, what?
Yeah, and he
27-0.
I mean,
I know you'll say it wasn't to poke fun, but the way you're on your channel talking about it, the way you guys are, your little. Come on, man, come on, Dunn. You know what it was.
It's an opinion. You know what I mean? Like it's a show
Yeah,
that's
it's an
going to
opinion,
happen.
but it's an opinion, but it's also an outlandish one. He's 27-0. He's given 3 turnovers in a game, and at home.
Mhm.
And I'm. Is it really outlandish to sit him?
I mean, if that's what
No.
it's not in my opinion. But I mean, if that's, that's their show. They're gonna say, people gonna say certain things. I'm not gonna, I wouldn't feed into it because it's just at the end of the day, that's what you do if you have that platform. That's what happens in sports.
Yeah.
If it's your platform, then
I got
you can
I
put
just want to make
whatever
sure I
out there.
spoke out on that. I want to make sure I spoke out on that.
And there's
because-
responses to it, so you're entitled to have a response.
Of course.
Just to throw my 2 cents out there too, really quick here. I respect that whole platform, your opinion thing, but Rob, I do agree with you. I don't foresee any issue. I mean, you're down 27-0. The game is completely out of hand. I understand why you made that decision. So I don't think that you were crazy for making that decision. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah. So
I think
second
too,
to last.
it's a sign of it's just a sign of respect that I listen, and that I listen. I listen to what certain people say in this league. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I was listening to what they had to say, and it's all good. But I just kind of felt a little like, oh, what's all this, man? Come on, man. It's not that serious. Making a whole podcast.
Yeah, so Bulldogs and the Sentinels. The Sentinels, their playoff hopes was on the line. We knew this. And I think at this point it's over with. The Bulldogs, the Sentinels had to pretty much win out the rest of the season just to make sure that they could go most likely into the playoffs. Even with 5 wins, you could miss it. Losses, you could miss it, right? But 6 loss. I mean, with 5 losses, I mean, you can miss it. With Bill, what you doing? What you talking about?
Mismatched sleeves.
Oh yeah, Reed. Yeah, I forgot to message you about that. You can't have mismatched sleeves. That's against the dress code in the RFL. And I think he even did it with the wristbands. He do that with the wristbands too. Is that a red wrist? He's tripping. But anyway,
What is this?
But yeah, the Sentinels, man, they had
He
this.
does it on purpose, man.
They had this, but unfortunately, the Bulldogs caught up and did what they were supposed to do here at home. Shout out to Shaquille Tiller, man. That dude's a dog at cornerback. There ain't no cornerback in the RFL making interceptions like this on a yearly basis. He's a dog. I gotta give it to him. The dude is a dog. And Timmy Merritt, he was accurate for the most part, had a very solid game. It was a good fight by the Sentinels, man. It was a really good fight by these guys, but in the end, it's not really too much for me to say. Bulldogs getting it done, 6-2 on the season. Sentinels 3-6. I don't see a playoffs for these guys now at this point. You never know, but I think it's over. Bill,
you good?
I'm not good.
Oh,
I'm upset about the sleeves.
Let's get over it, Bill. He did it on purpose. He knows that all you can do is complain. He'll change it.
That's why it always bothers me so much, because these coaches know you're not supposed to be changing their gear like this, and they just go on a tangent. Let's give this guy an offensive lineman mask, and he's playing corner, and let's give this guy 14 different colored wristbands and different colored sleeves.
Man, coaches, I know y'all doing it, man. Like, I know y'all doing it, but don't break the rule and do it, man. Stop changing. And especially, this one thing that makes me lose respect for you as a coach. Like, I'll keep you around, but I really don't. This is why I don't really talk to some of y'all at times, is because, like, if I told you not to do this, this is a rule. Why would you do it? And let's not blow this up.
That's the problem.
Let's not blow this up though and like put it on just Read alone. This is just coaches in general.
Yeah,
Stop making face changes you're not supposed to make. Stop doing certain things you're not supposed to do when I told you not to. Because at the end of the day, like, y'all know I'm serious when it comes to my punishments. Like, and I'm letting some of y'all slide. at times,
Hey,
right? So
Kill, you're right.
do
Kill, I was
not
laughing at that too. That's
do
why
not
I don't talk to y'all.
yeah, do not come out here and do these things, man.
I don't know. That's the
Like,
beard,
do not come out here and
Say
do
it
these
again,
things,
Smitty.
man, because it's going to
Say
lead
it
to a
again, man.
suspension. And don't come to me talking about I'm getting suspended for clothes. I told you this years ago when you applied to be a coach. So please, first of all, Reed, somebody tell Reed, change them sleeves back, and y'all stop messing with these players. All right.
Hey man, it's why I don't talk to y'all.
Yeah, Smitty, that was I didn't catch it when you said it, but when you pointed it out, I was like, dang, that was hardcore. Like, this is why I don't talk to y'all,
Yeah,
man.
this is why
Like,
I don't talk.
this is why I don't want to talk to you, man. Like, you just make me angry when I look at you. When I see your stupid bubble pop up in Discord, it just makes me mad.
But some coaches like
talk to y'all.
and this is not what the show for, so I'm not going to keep going into it. But like, y'all know what y'all doing, man. Follow the rules. Stop playing around and then get salty when you get suspended. Oh yeah, I will say this too, guys. Just to stand. So I'm glad y'all brought this up. I'm going to let it slide this last time, and y'all hearing it now. If anybody else on a live game does not have their roster set to start the stream, you are getting suspended.
Hold on, Smitty. Hold on. I believe that this is a glitch, man. Because
you could check it though before you get into the game. Like, what? It's not a glitch, because what happens is you could get an injury or whatever happens. Hop into practice mode before the game's about to start, so it lets you know your roster's cleared.
Well,
that's
Smitty,
what you need to do.
I'm gonna tell you, man. I promise you this. I set my lineup and I was doing something with my line and I brought up more linemen so I could set some auto subs. And I had the left guard, left tackle in that game. I made the change. I changed his position, right, to that. But I believe that the game reverted him back.
Well, what you're saying, what happened is you changed his position, and you put him in that spot in the depth chart. But the roster had nobody there, because I could tell that's what happened, because when I looked at the tackle position, you had 4 guys.
I changed his position. I edited his position to be that position. But I don't think that the game saved his position, like when I changed it to be in that spot, because I actually removed someone out of the depth chart or whatever and put him in. But I don't think the game saved it. Is what I'm getting at. Because when you logged in, it said I didn't have no guards there, and I know better than that, bro. Like, I know that. I know I gotta have them in that position.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is, like, even if it didn't save, like, and it's not like you're the only one. And sometimes mistakes happen. This was your first time doing it, but it happened to you twice, my guy. Like, come on, go to practice mode. If you know you're having a game that day, go to the practice mode. Hop into practice. As long as it tells you can go through it practice, that means the game's going to be good. Please, coaches, make sure you are doing this before you hop in a game, so that we're not wasting 10 to sometimes even 30 minutes to start up a game. You're getting suspended, and it's hard to suspend coaches for a week or something, so it's actually going to be much more harder from here on out, because, like, if I kick you guys out the file, that's really going to hurt you beyond just a week, right? Because you're now going to lose your entire coaching tree. So it needs to be something else that I have to enforce, which most likely means that the suspension is going to have to be a loss of your top players, as it usually is if I can't do that. So if y'all don't want that happening, please make sure you're checking the practices on before you get into this game, man. Please, because that does a lot. Sometimes we got stuff to do, Rob. Something you did it yourself, man. You had to wait, forgot what game, like a last week or something, like 30 minutes to start the game up. We can't be having this going on. That's the stuff, as a coach, you don't even do all that much to not get that done.
I'm just trying to make sure that's not a glitch, man. Because I'll be on top of my zone, bro.
It's not.
I don't know, man. I don't know if that's.
Well, see, the thing is, it's not that it's not that it's not a glitch, but it's also one that is pretty simple to know when it's going to happen. If you have any kind of injury, assume your roster, your depth chart, has been completely reset.
Yeah.
If you change somebody's position, I feel like that's also another thing that can completely reset your depth chart.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's just like, if you go, like, this is why I always make sure, like, I don't know how everybody else does their training. Every time I do training, I'm always scanning to see if there's any injuries from the training week, right? And if there is any injuries, I immediately go to my depth chart because I know it's going to reset my stuff. Now, granted, a lot of my stuff takes a lot of the way my stuff is set up is outside of the depth chart, but I still have to go back and fix things. So it's just anytime, like honestly, I would just, as soon as you're done with training, even if there's no injuries, I would still just go and check your depth chart just to make sure, because if you have one key position that you change, like you have an 80 overall over an 83 because you like him in that position, just go and check that one. If he's there, you're set. But if it's flipped back to the highest overall, your whole thing's been reset and you're gonna have to fix it again.
Yeah, it sucks that they reset.
It's a stupid glitch this year. It is a glitch.
Yeah, that's
it's just one that you can tell when it's going to happen.
You just got to make sure that if it happens, like just got to stay on injuries and stay on stuff like that, just to make sure that we're not wasting any time. And this was the last game of the week.
And signings too, like Roland said. Signings can also do that.
Yeah, if you sign somebody, everything's reset. This was the game of the week, man. This Condors and Elks game, Elks finally fell, but boy, they put up a fight. And as Rob said in the chat, best clock management we've seen all season. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish it. But man, shout out to the Elks. 7 wins, most wins, longest win streak to start a season in franchise history. And still made it close with the Condors. Shout out to Chase McCoy and the Condors too, man, because they was balling. McCoy was just doing McCoy things, right? And it's just a great game all around, both sides. Nothing really too much for me to say here, but this win is very big for the Condors because now they're within a game of the Elks, and that means competition is now a lot more in the West. You know what I'm saying? So like they already beat the Elks. They have 2 more losses, but if they can catch up in wins, we still don't know who's going to win the West. But right now, the Elks, it might be honestly, which is sad. It looks like this division most likely is up to the Condors and the Elks. Where is the Snowhawks? The Crusaders are taking tough losses, but they could even bounce back. The Snowhawks taking those tough losses, man. The Snowhawks should be leading the West, and they're not. And the Condors come out here, get it done on the road in Salt Lake City, 35-28, and an instant classic. What's your guys' thoughts?
I just think it's crazy that we thought that this Elks team was horrible last year when they actually honestly probably had somewhat of a better roster than they do this year because they didn't have to get rid of all those players that they did this offseason and their draft wasn't the best. So I'm not even going to lie, guys. It's just sort of crazy.
Yes.
Well, I think a lot of this has to do with the schedule thing we did, right? Don't the teams that weren't that good have easier schedules?
Yeah, but I mean, I wouldn't say it was necessarily easy for the Elks. They actually took down some worthy opponents. They defeated the Wizards. They beat the Diablos. They beat the Snowhawks. Like, they actually beat teams. Honestly, because of those wins, they're more likely to win the division now at this point with the rest of their schedule that they have left.
Yeah. Big salute to McCoy. Got a lot of all these players here. McCoy, what I have to say about him, dimes. Mr. Dimes, man. Just all types of dimes in that game. If you want to just watch, I talked about this in the game when I was calling it. If you want to just see a QB, man, throw dimes. You just watch any tape with this guy, man. Jeez, some of the throws, high lows, just automatic, man. Awesome, man. Mickens definitely was a force in this game. The way he controlled this game, boy, it was a tough day for the Elks. Jaguar, he had a great game as well. Latavian Worwell, man, kept these guys in this game all the way down to the end. I thought at one point he was gonna cave, but he actually played some of the best football I've seen him play as well. I said, wow, this guy is looking pretty good here, man. I think that the weakness here was Martin. He was good at first, but then they were able to slow him down, and from there it was just Condors just kept rolling, I love what I saw to Martin for the first part, but then it just kind of like cut off, man. They couldn't really get him going. Mason Dunn, shout out to the Mountaineer. That kid, boy, he has some big catches for 81. Big salute to him. Played tremendous as well. We saw Cardenas go up and get a few. I think he got one good one that I saw as well. And I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, big shout out to Jacob Reed.
Yeah, got
For
that
the
pick.
snatchy.
Got
For
a
the
photo.
snatchy.
Got a pick and a pick.
Yeah, pick and a pick. Yeah. And then let me see. Was there anybody else that I saw that stood out in that game? Maybe some pressure at times on McCoy. Trying to think who
Tyrone
it was.
Johnson.
Tyrone Johnson. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what it
Tyrone
was.
Johnson.
Tyrone Johnson, man, he looked awesome in that game as well. So big salute to the Condors. Big salute to the Elks, man. It's only one game. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, so that's the recap. I know it was extra long, but we were going into some good debates and stuff there. Good topics to talk about. Now we're getting to the top 10 power rankings of the RFL. Things have switched around tremendously here for me when looking at schedules and looking at everything else. This is what I have come up with. The Red Dragons are now in the top 10. They've jumped all the way up to 8, but let's talk about everything else before. Everything's the same from 1 through 4. Thunderbirds, Explorers, Steamers, Celtic Tigers. 5, the Bulldogs hop up because sitting at 5 was the Voyagers. They took a big blowout loss to the Red Dragons, and they've already, fumbled a couple games already this season. Didn't expect them to. So now they're completely out of the top 10. Diablos, great bounce back for them. They've jumped all the way up to 6 here, 7-2 record. Huskies didn't have a game this week. They stayed neutral at 7. Red Dragons come here at 8. And the Riverhogs underneath of them at 9. And I made that setting because I feel like the Red Dragons off of my spreads will win this week. So if I feel that way, they got to be in that order on the top 10. And then the Monarchs, that 10 spot, man, has been a curse, like Q-Pac been saying. Anybody in that 10 spot usually taking an L, and it's tough because they're playing the Explorers.
Whoa. Nope. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
With superstition,
nope,
my guy.
Nope.
But,
We're not going to do that.
But yeah, so the Monarchs are in here at the top 10 at number 10, despite the 2 blowout losses they took. The last 2 games they played and the games before that, they got 8 wins and they're looking solid. We'll put them at 10 for now. What's you guys' thoughts on this? Is there any teams, any switches, any other teams you feel should be in this category? Speak to me.
I think you need to put Smitty's power rankings on this.
This is Smitty's power rankings. I say that every week.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah, this isn't from the game.
I think
make sure you put that because your math is fuzzy.
Nah, I think my math's pretty good.
Some of these
I'm
records.
pretty sure that's 1 through 10.
Because if you're making a power ranking, then the math on the records has to be in order.
I'm pretty sure that
No,
there
that's-
is
that's
a
not the same.
standings for that, not power rankings,
Yeah.
my guy. So go ahead,
Yeah.
take the bell.
But speaking of that, this is gonna sound crazy, but I this is honestly what I believe. I think that the Steamers should be moved up to number 2, and I should be down to 3.
I was debating that. I'm gonna be honest.
I mean, I not that I don't believe in my team,
because
I
you
don't
guys
have as
play-
many RFL games.
Yeah,
The Steamers have been killing teams they're playing. I just doubt that. That's the one thing I see that I would change.
the reason why they're not though, this is the reason why I was battling that. The reason why they're not is because I know they play both of those top 2, you and the Thunderbirds this year, and I feel like everyone's going to win until that happens. And so if that's going to happen, that's when they really make the case. Yo, we are better than the Explorers. Yo, we are better than the Thunderbirds.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah,
I mean, they
I'm
could
just
get us
saying.
in the game. I wouldn't go that far, Spitty. Come on.
You never
Come
know.
on.
I mean,
Come on.
Come on.
Let's
Hey.
calm down. Let's calm down a little
I really
bit.
think they got a good shot at winning the championship, man.
You're on a good
Representing
track.
the
Then you went
NRC.
off the rails there.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, since they play both of those teams, I'm keeping them at 3. I'm keeping them at 3 until they actually meet these teams. And as for everything else, I mean, CT just stayed.
I don't know
Bulldogs
why they
just moved
stayed
up.
either. I don't know why the
Oh,
CT stayed
You don't
either.
know why CT stayed?
Yeah, they've had one of the weakest schedules out of all these teams.
Hey.
Cap.
Oh, he
They
said
beat the
cap.
Bulldogs.
I know what
They
that
beat,
means.
they beat the Bulldogs. They
They
lost.
beat the Bulldogs, man.
But
And,
the only teams they've beaten, and all these teams are at the bottom half of their division. The Black Knights
but
twice.
you made
the
a-
Dreadnoughts.
I'ma
They've
get you
got
after
2 NFL wins. I'm gonna get you after this.
I'm gonna get you after this.
And,
Oh.
and the Bulls.
Nah, I'm gonna destroy him on this.
They haven't won anything against
They've won
any
good
relevant
games.
team except
Because
the Bulldogs.
Let me ask you this: was you saying that when you were actually trying to put the Voyagers over top of them as being better? Their
said what?
schedule was actually harder, and they've beaten teams that the Voyagers
Smitty,
themselves did not beat.
They've beaten.
But yet you were vouching
listen to what I'm
for the
saying. They've
Voyagers
beaten
to
the
be over
London-
top of
they
them.
They beat the London Black Knights twice.
And I'm about to
They
get you
beat
some
the
more. I'm gonna let you go ahead.
Dreadnoughts, who are struggling. They beat the Bulldogs. We'll give them that. They've got 2 RFL wins there, and they beat the Bulls. And you're acting like they're better. They performed better than what Portland has been able to do. Why is it
Bulldogs
Portland?
is 5, right?
Why is it Portland? But wait a second. But why is
You-
Portland all
you
the way at
would
the bottom
say-
when Q when Q has taken teams off the map. You were just saying, "Oh man, they killed the coach."
Yeah, he's snapping.
Why are they all the way down
He's
here?
snapping. But you really think?
So
you really
so he
think
hasn't-
most people would take? You really think
he
most
hasn't-
people
he
would
hasn't
take the
he hasn't
Riverhogs
outperformed
over the Celtic
CT?
Tigers in a game?
Yeah.
No.
I think at this point,
No.
they
And this
would.
is no shade to
Yeah.
Q. They're
Yeah.
not going to.
I think at this point they would.
No.
He thought about that. Yeah, he's like, yeah.
Yeah,
I think they would.
he knew he had to think about it. Ain't no way
I
you're
think
going
the
to
way
sit
it's
here and say
looking-
that.
I think the way it's looking,
Q still has to
is
prove, even
your
though he's doing a
Celtic
good
Tigers,
job.
Your Celtic Tigers are only up here because of Q.
They up here because they
And-
win.
and
They're
should
8-1.
be- they should
They're
be-
up here because
they
of me.
should be lower.
I
They
thought
should
you
be
said
lower
just because
than-
you beat them,
they-
you would
they
be
should-
better than them,
they
right?
should- they should
You were
be
the only
lower
team
than-
to beat them.
Well, you know,
and I still had them over you, right?
When it
Where
comes to
you
my
at?
team, I'm going to say how it's.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But
I
was I
think
not
this
right
team is too
about
high.
that? Because you
I think
fell
they're too
off.
high. I think they're
Right?
too high.
The other
I
teams
don't
that
care
you
if I
try
fell
to
off.
put
That
over
doesn't
them,
matter.
the other teams you try to put over
Rob,
them,
you
they
catching
fell off.
strays out here, dude.
They fell off too, didn't they? Voyagers
No,
fell off. All
it's
these
easy-
other
it's-
teams
it's
that you
easy-
tried to say was
it's
better
easy-
than them,
It's easy.
they
It's
better
easy to
than.
talk. It's
Oh,
easy. It's
Smitty's
easy
in
to-
his
it's
spot where
easy
he
to
just
talk
continues
over
to
people.
yell.
Yeah,
No, I'm
it's
gonna let
easy
you
to talk
talk.
over
I'm
people.
not going to talk over you. Go
No,
ahead.
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna let you
just
talk as
think-
I scream over you.
I just think
Go
that your
ahead,
team,
man.
I think that your Celtic Tiger team has not really beaten anybody but the Bulldogs. And I think
Bulldogs
Q,
is a lot.
Hold on, let me
Better than most
because,
of most of
hold on,
these
time
dudes
out.
wins already.
Okay, you keep talking while I go look this up real quick. Go ahead, keep talking.
Better,
keep
better
talking.
than most of these guys wins. Who else beat the Bulldogs?
Hold on for a second.
I mean, matter of fact, let me pull some stuff up
Okay,
here.
okay, time out,
Oh
time out.
gosh. Okay.
So-
well, these guys are all pulling stats, guys.
Yeah,
what should we talk about?
Let me go ahead and pull these stats
So
cards.
Q has beat the Voyagers, the Bisons.
And now we want to throw out prior history though. Now we want to sit here and go off of just the season, right?
The Dreadnoughts, and
That's
the
what he's doing
Aviators.
right now.
He's beat.
So-
he's beat them. He's beat better teams than your team has beat. You only beat one team. That was the Bulldogs.
I don't know why you putting me. Why you saying you?
Why can I use factual information?
Look, that's not.
You're
look,
using.
I'm using
why
factual
can't-
information. Which one of those teams
No,
you talking about
no,
beat the
but wait.
Bulldogs?
Hold on.
I'm
Time
just
out.
trying to say
He's
they're
beat
8-1, right?
better
Let's see.
teams. He's beat better teams than.
Well, Frankie,
The
I don't think
Riverhawks,
that you would have
the-
argued.
the
The only time I think you
Tigers.
argue is when you do this stupid face with the emoji.
Well,
That's the only time I
the
think you're
Celtic
arguing.
Tigers already proved for one that they were better than the Voyagers at this point, based off of their scheduling, right? Who lost to the Voyagers? Riverhawks. Okay. Who beat the Bulldogs this season?
I've stopped listening to you now. I'm not
yeah,
listening.
you listening because you don't want to hear the facts. That's what it is.
probably will.
You-
Probably will not
you
come
don't
true
wanna
because
hear
they
the facts.
jinxed
That's what
it.
it is. Hold on.
I use factual information and you just dance around it.
I'm
That's
hitting you with
stupid
factual
face.
information.
I'll
Factual
hit you with it
information.
too.
You deciding to skip those.
All right.
You deciding to skip those. Guess
okay.
who also guess what? Lost to them. Then the Bulls. The Bulls beat the Bulldogs.
So
The Bulls beat the Bulldogs.
Forbes,
I
what
just-
does that
I
even
just
mean?
said-
I
I
never
just said that
lost.
Q-
I never lose
I just
except
said
for the
that
two
Q-
times I did.
has I just said that Q has just had a better season as far as wins go. than the
How
Celtic
many
Tigers.
How many teams can we actually say that? There's a lot of teams that played more RFL games
It's okay,
that
Smitty.
you could say
It's
this
okay.
season's better than. It's not a. And,
that's
and
why
your
it's
point,
your
you could
list.
say that.
That's why it's
exactly.
your
This
list
is
and
my
not
list.
mine. So it's all good.
Exactly. This is my
You got
list.
it.
But at the end
That's
of the
your
day,
list. It's
don't
your
try
list.
to act
Well,
like
say it
CT
again.
ain't
Say it
balling.
again.
And not
No,
to
they're
mention,
not.
let me
In
go
my
back.
opinion- no,
Let me
in my
go back
opinion,
to
they're
CT
not balling-
since you're trying to
they're not
act
balling
like they're
like
not
Portland.
balling, right?
They're not balling like Portland.
Right?
They're not balling like Portland. That's how I feel.
Let me pull up.
Am I, Bill? Am
pull
I
up the
not allowed to
schedule.
believe? Am I not allowed to feel that
Anybody can
Portland is
believe
balling
anything.
better
But
than
tell me
CT?
how they're balling.
I believe I
Tell me-
Am I
can
not
fly.
feel that way?
Tell me how they're better than CT, right?
No.
But I'm saying they're
I'll be
winning
honest.
games
I
by
think the
dominant
Diablos.
margins.
I think the Diablos are balling better than CT.
Ooh.
Well,
They lost. Oh, you want to go pull up the Diablos? You want me
Hey,
to tell
I'll have
yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
you go pull
I'll
that
have
up.
you
They
know.
lost to the
The
Elks.
Diablos have not lost
Uh,
except for the two times that they lost this year. All right.
Elks took, look, 2 L's, bro,
I'm
and
just
one of them's to
saying.
the Elks. That's
Just
all I'm
saying.
saying, bro.
Every other game,
you wanna
he's
keep bringing
won.
Up, you want to keep bringing up these? I'm hitting you with stats too.
you can win the conversation, man. I'm done fighting.
Yeah,
Go
because
ahead.
you know you lost.
You've won
That's
it.
the thing. You can't discredit an 8-1 team that is actually good and been
I
historically good.
always
defeating
lose. I always lose.
This is and Q, where Q at? He said we play CT in 2 weeks. Yeah, we play CT in 2 weeks. We'll see then. But why would I have
Yeah,
the Riverhogs?
we will see.
Why would I have the Riverhogs over the Celtic Tigers historically at this point? Tell me how that makes sense. And they're
the same
8-1.
way, the same
they
reason
lost to the
why
Voyagers.
the same reason you have the Huskies over the Riverhogs and
Are they
and
not
Red
a
Dragons.
historically good team
And
when they have a good
Ramos.
quarterback? Did they not add Holden Wolf?
At
Did they
5
not
and
add
3.
Holden Wolf?
It's not making any sense, so I'm not listening.
Yeah. So you don't think the Huskies?
What is happening
You don't think
right
the
now?
Huskies can
Not
beat the
listening.
Monarchs if they
Not
play? You don't
listening.
think the Huskies can
Blah,
beat the
blah, blah,
Riverhawks?
blah, 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 blah,
Yeah.
blah.
Dude just wants to sit here and chat. He just talking. He
Blah,
just
blah,
put on
blah,
the show.
blah, 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 blah,
You
blah,
want to be the
blah,
clown?
blah.
I'll give you the
What
circus.
is
You got it.
happening right here?
Not
If
listening.
you want to be the clown, I'm
Blah,
gonna give him
blah,
the
blah,
circus.
blah,
He
blah,
can
blah,
get the
blah,
circus.
blah, blah, blah,
There you go.
blah, blah.
Get out of here. But at the end of the day, you Saudi, you're not on this top
I'm
10
gonna
list.
stop being
But,
petty, man.
but this is what I'm saying. He not on here. All the teams he said was better than CT, they not on here. They 8-1? No. L.
You guys see what I put up with?
Yeah, L's.
That's
You
what
put
I
up with
put up with.
L's, just like you did the last 3 RFL games.
Bro, you held up a backwards L there, man. What was that?
You hear that?
Which way you
want
wanna
to
go?
L's.
Which
You
way
hear
you
that
wanna
bill?
go?
You put up.
So, yeah.
You put up L's just like you put up the last three RFL games. That's what he just
Dang.
said.
Yeah. So,
Smitty getting personal.
I mean, you want to hit the blah, blah.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm going to air you out
Yeah,
too.
well, guess what, Smitty? Guess what? Every time you do a CPU versus CPU team, guess what? You lose
I
too.
do.
All right,
And I win
So you
too.
lose like every week. You lose on the weekly, longer than 3 weeks.
Yeah, I do. And you know who has my best teams? Y'all.
What?
I guarantee y'all be doing the same thing if y'all had to deal with the Pioneers. I guarantee y'all be in the same situation if y'all had to deal with the teams I had. Y'all
I
think
would
y'all
have
be
turned him
winning?
into. I would have turned him into a perennial
You
powerhouse.
would have did that? I'm not saying
Yep.
you wouldn't, but don't act like you wouldn't have struggled. Don't act like you would have been doing the same things I'm doing. Y'all got the best teams.
We're not
You
allowed
won a
to.
championship. Rob's consistently made the playoffs. Come on now.
Fine. I'm
What
just
we
gonna.
wanna
I'm
do?
just like 2 years from now. I'm just gonna abandon my team and take over the crummiest team. I'm gonna take them to a Relo Bowl.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Just to prove
Don't hurt
a
your ego
point.
Too bad.
Can I do both teams at the same time?
Nah, you can't do that.
What?
You're not commission. You can't do that. But yeah, anyway, this is the top 10 power rankings. Shout out my boy Anthony Savoy getting the poster boy pick here, getting his team up in the top 10 at number 8. And Anthony Savoy is actually playing a pretty good season. This will be posted on social media. You guys, you already know that. Let's go ahead and get a look at the schedule. All right, so we have one less game than we had a week ago, which is just one less. I think it's a premier game. Yeah, one less premier game. So we had a game at 6 p.m. Eastern, which last week was the Gunners and the Barons. But we look at this week. We kick things off with that 10 seed spot, that curse. Bill, pressure on you, boy.
Stop it. Stop.
Pressure
I
on
just
that boy, Bill.
told Ramos in the chat it's gonna be broken tomorrow now because of you. You always have to find a way to jinx my team.
You say this, but then what happened? You don't say none of this after you win when I say these
That's
things,
not
though.
the point, though.
It is. Because if
It's
I'm
not
not
the
going to look at the
point.
times you actually win. How about the time I said you were going to go undefeated and win a championship? You thought I was lying. I've been saying that for like 10 weeks. Well,
What?
8 weeks
Yeah,
after
but
you
see,
beat the team.
Smitty, this is the thing. This is the beauty, okay? If for the superstition to not happen, I have to offset it in some fashion,
All right,
right?
we're gonna let
If
you
I
offset
just
it.
let you all free willy out here, just
That's
jinxing
not
my
me.
team,
That's not my words.
and I don't try to bring it back with some negativity to reel in the
Smitty,
jinx, then it doesn't work.
I think there needs to be a switch of a game here, though, man.
Switch of a game. Well, I'm not.
Yeah,
you
really-
already know we standing on. But if you did, if we were
Smitty,
switching, which game would it be?
You've
I'm not switching
definitely
no games.
got it. You've definitely got. This is week 10.
Yeah.
Oh, Hey, look, you definitely
not
have to put the Bulldogs and Miners at the 8 p.m. game. You have to.
That is a good one. So
Yeah.
is the Red
And not
Dragons
only
and
this,
Riverhogs.
Yeah,
This is what
you have to
the
put that there.
community. We had these games up there. But at the
Yeah,
end of
but
the
now,
day,
but we
they're
didn't
not.
know.
No,
We didn't
no,
know. We
no.
didn't know
You
that
guys
Mouse
were
McCain
with
would
me.
be where he is
You
now.
guys were with me on this
Yeah,
until now.
but we
it's
didn't know
staying.
that Mouse McCain would be like
Wait,
this.
what do you mean, you guys? What did I do?
I'm saying you guys were with me when I said, "Yo, I'm not changing anything until week 15." Now,
Oh,
I said,
I didn't know there was a
no,
set week.
We're not
No,
switching.
but I think
Yeah, it was
I didn't know there was a
15.
set week.
Yeah, week 15. That's what we
Oh,
were saying.
dang, that's
week
a little
15,
late.
the last 3 weeks.
But
I've been
okay.
saying that since
Yeah,
we came
I'm
on
not.
the show.
I'm. Bro,
didn't
you
know-
are
we
way
didn't
too
know
hype
this.
right now. I'm not even trying to start an argument.
I'm
I'm
not-
just saying.
This is not me
I'm
being
just
hype.
If you wanna
saying.
keep that game. If you want to keep
Yes,
that game,
Smitty, you're hype.
But no, I talk like y'all know I talk like this. For one, this is
Don't.
what I'm saying. The Bulldogs and the Miners, is that not a good thing also for premier games? This is why I'm sticking with it in the first place as well, because we need to have games like this in the premier games. Who wants to sit there and watch the crap games
saying,
though? Like
I'm just saying,
all
Smitty,
the
like,
time in the premier.
Look, man. The Huskies 5-3. The Bulls bottom of the barrel.
Okay.
Whatever. So that game can be a 4 p.m. game. The Bulldogs.
I'm
top of the
not
league.
going to go
Top
in
of the
in a
ARC.
joint with it because we
Miners,
weren't saying this
same
earlier.
place. No, we weren't saying it earlier because we didn't know we didn't know how.
Well,
good
we
these
knew
teams
there's a
would be at
chance
this point
that
in
that
the
could
season.
happen. We said when we came up with the schedule, week 15, when we had to reswitch it, we not
didn't think
changing
Mountain
until the
Kane-
3 weeks.
You didn't think Mountain Kane would be doing good?
Yeah, there's a
You
couple
didn't
other
think that?
games we could have flexed earlier this season. Didn't. We didn't speak out on that. That's all I'm saying.
It's cool. I'm just saying it seems
I'm
like
okay,
that'd be a great switch.
I'm okay with us doing the week 15 thing, but I really don't like we didn't do this one time 2 weeks ago, so we can't ever fix the problem. Like
No,
that
it's not
doesn't make any sense.
At the end of the
to
day,
me.
I even gave you my reason
Like,
as to why these games
yeah, I'm
should
just saying,
stay in the
like,
premier slot in the first place. Why would we we need games like this there. We need games like this there, man. We can't keep having guys watching Pioneers and Black Knights only.
I understand that, but I do have a feeling that
Well, we've had a lot of
we
Bulls and
also
Huskies
have
games.
like obviously, Smitty, you know this when you go on your analytics page. When are most of our watchers online? A lot of the times it's during the times that we're live with the commentary because that's when they're used to us going.
This is what I'm saying.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You know that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I get what you're saying, but I already have my stance. I've given you my stance on to why I'm not changing these games. Because at the end of the day, it's beneficial regardless. There's been a lot of games in the premier slot, especially this year, that guys have showed out in a lot for because it was a premier game and we could actually be in the VC talking while it's going on. You need some games like this. Even the Aviators and Cougars game is in here. And despite the Cougars with the 3-loss situation going on, this is still one of the big rivalries in the RFL. So it's like you got to have some of these matchups like this because at the end of the day, that's what's going to bring hype for people to show up more for these premier games. If we keep putting these weak premier games like we did in the past, like in college series and stuff like that, in this spot, our viewership, even though it's it's lower, it's going to go down more so when it comes to Premier Day. So I'd rather have some bangers in there where I know people's going to show up.
Hold on. So you trying to tell me all those weeks that you put Wisconsin and 1 o'clock?
You know why?
Not because it was. That's baloney right there. Let me tell you that. That is horrible.
You knew exactly why Wisconsin kept getting the 1 p.m.
How
games, man.
dare you do something like that?
All right, so
you didn't know that for real?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I was about to say, of course, Wisconsin was getting that. But okay, so I got the Explorers winning by 6 or more points though on the road. I know it's a bit of a steep thing because we're seeing the Monarchs start to come around, and of course, you know, I don't think people like just because we know how dominant the Explorers are. We've even seen the Thunderbirds and dominant teams be in close games. It's tough to win by a hard margin, by a large margin. But I do think that this team can win by at least 6 or more points. So I'm taking the Explorers of that. I'll let Mix you go first since this is Bill's team. And do you think they can beat the Monarchs on the road in London by 6 or more?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit of a tussle for a second. Monarchs are going to fight hard, but at the end, it's going to be DJ and the Explorers. So I do got them by a margin of 6 or better.
You guys just set me up to fail right now.
Man, these are spreads. We do this to every team.
I know.
What you think, man?
What do you mean? What do I think?
How you feeling? You think you're gonna beat them by 6?
You know what I'm gonna say. Of course we are.
Team. Oh, you got them by 6. Okay.
Yes,
that's all
I have to say that.
What's your thoughts going into this game? Enlighten us some more on.
Okay, my true thoughts about my team this year, and I think I've even stated this on the podcast in the past, or maybe in the Discord. There's been some bumps in the road with DJ. I think it's even been very prevalent to see that in some of our games. And we are actually going to be showcasing another new game plan this week that I've been working on for the last week. So I'm excited to see what it is. I've been testing it like absolutely crazy against our last NFL opponent, but I don't know what we're going to get in an RFL game yet.
Yeah,
so it's hard for me to say that. And it's my last
change too. So
it is. Yep. It is. It's a big week. This could end up being this could be the start to a very good rest of the season, or it could be the downfall. I don't really know yet, but we'll see what happens. And but I do think we have a good enough team to still win by 6, even if something goes sideways with that.
Okay, second game, Celtic Tigers at home taking on the Sentinels. I got the Celtic Tigers by the same margin of 6. What's you guys' thoughts? We'll just continue the same order. Mix, you could go first, and then we go to Bill since we just started that.
I'm supposed to take CT in this game. What is the spread? You said by 6?
By 6, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really cannot tell. I've seen the Sentinels lose games by close margins too. some very good teams. They just barely lost to the Bulldogs. Had the Bulldogs played the Celtic Tigers this season?
Yeah, they beat them
They
30
beat
to
'em?
16.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm gonna say Sentinels get back to it and get a win here. I'm gonna take Sentinels by the margin 6.
By 6,
Well-
but taking them by the margin too. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna
All right,
win
Bill.
by 6. Yeah.
Well, since we already covered the fact that we know CT is a poser and it doesn't belong in the power rankings where they are,
Cap.
I think
Like I don't
I
know what
think
to
I'm
say
going to go with the
these games, man.
Sentinels.
I don't know what to say with these games, because they come out and they destroy the Cougars, and everyone's saying, that this team is, ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? They're just so great.
Nobody said that.
And then they're they lose they lose close games. They lost close games. They battled with teams. So I don't know, man. I don't think it's outlandish to take the Sentinels over CT, especially
Yes.
if the Bulldogs did what they did to them. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't
man.
think it's out.
They just
yeah,
barely
it's not.
lost it. They just barely lost to the
but-
Bulldogs. Bulldogs handle CT.
Yeah, but think about this.
You know what I
It's also historical because, Sentinels have swept. I mean, the Celtic Tigers have swept the Sentinels for 2 years now. They're literally won 4 straight times against them. And when they're home, it's tough. I'm not saying that the Celtic Tigers can't lose either because, this is a divisional game. Anything can happen. But when you have those odds, and especially how consistent it's been with them defeating the Sentinels, and they're at their lowest point right now, that's why I would say it's more so that more people would choose the Celtic Tigers to be victorious in this game rather than the Sentinels. Yeah, they can play the close games.
Well, the fanboys are going to go ahead and definitely.
Well, I don't think it would be the fanboys. I think it would be the general
CT.
consensus because if you have that type of showing for 3 longer than that, I need to look back actually the third season, see how long. Because the last time that tour beat the Celtic Tigers was in season 5 to stop them from being the first undefeated team in a regular season.
He didn't get a W against them last year in the season.
No, he got swept.
He got swept by CT last year.
Yeah, last year and the year before that. So that's what I'm saying.
He's due for one then.
Yeah, he could be due for one. But I'm saying when you have all of that going into this, the general consensus is going to choose the Celtic Tigers. That's why I'm saying it would be they're looked at as the favorites, obviously, in this game. But of course, the Sentinels can win.
All
right. So did you say anything about who you thought was going to win here, Bill? I said the Celtic Tigers by 6. You chose.
I honestly think that I think that the Sentinels can pull it off. I've seen some good stuff. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I am going to go with the Sentinels.
All right. So we have the Barons and the Shamrocks. The Barons I chose here to win by 3 or more points, and this is something that's been consistent throughout the history of the Shamrocks. Good offense. They can wow you. They can upset some teams, but they don't win a lot of games. They just don't. And the Barons, I like the trajectory in which they've gone. It's been 3 straight solid weeks with these guys. I got them winning. If they look anything like they did these last 3 weeks, I think they can defeat the Shamrocks in Dublin. So I'm going to take them by a field goal or more.
Yeah, I'll take that with the spread.
Yeah, I got the Barons.
All right. So we have the Pioneers and the Black Knights. This game.
Why did you laugh like that when you started talking about it?
Well, I was about to cough, but I did laugh a little bit.
Oh.
I laughed because, these teams are looked at as, the lower end teams, but these are the type of teams when they see each other, you're going to get a good game just because the level of talent is going to be almost matched. The Black Knights shocking us. They're 6-3 on the season. The Pioneers are 4-5. I think this is going to be a really solid game. But I'm taking the Pioneers despite the Black Knights having a better record by 2 points, which means, I feel like this game could go either way, but I'm going to take the Pioneers. And here's why I'm going to take the Pioneers. I don't like what I've been seeing recently from I'm going to say Miles McCain. He's not doing that. Jacob McCall with the interceptions. That is a cause for concern because we just saw, not just the Huskies game, but a couple weeks as well, that this secondary with Xavier Eves.
Well, what are you going to do to make it better? How are you going to make it better? When are you
obviously, I'm going to try to do that, but
jump
I'm
on your coach
planning
Dunhorse
against
and
myself.
make it better. When are you going to make him better?
It's the Black Knights, son. It's different when you got the best team and when one of the better teams.
What
and
is
that's
your
happening.
hand gonna do? Why don't you fix it? Why don't you fix McCall and make him beat the Pioneers?
Yeah, it's McCall, the Pioneers, on one of the worst teams.
guy.
Geno Gannon is on the Cougars. You want to keep keep throwing shots.
This has nothing to do. This has nothing to do with the
you throwing your
Cougars.
shot. Yeah, it do. Because
How did this? How did we get here?
You want me to tell you how I do? You trying to say, oh, why don't you fix Jacob McCall? McCall's on one of the worst teams in the league. He's on. This is going to happen. It's different than when we see.
I don't know how Chicago. I don't know how Chicago got in the middle of this. But I think the guys are going to be.
I don't either.
Because I'm attacking you.
How did Geno get pulled in?
Yeah, it's a shot because he falls in that category. But he's not the only one. Can you explain the reason why Gidley's throwing picks? I'm just saying you still fall in that category. So yeah, I'm gonna pull it up. I'm gonna pull the card on that because you're the one coming at me. So yeah, Black Knights.
I didn't coming at you.
No,
I'm coming at the
saying,
team.
it's a joke. It's a joke. At the end of the day, this team, Jacob McCall is going to throw picks. He's on the Black Knights. We know why he's throwing picks. He threw 5 picks against the Bulldogs. Why? It wasn't necessarily because of him. Yeah, some of them were. But it was because of the pass rush. He's going to throw picks, right? But I'm saying, can I still not use that reason to say why I feel he's going to lose? Yeah, he's going to throw picks. It's the team he's on. He doesn't have the top wide receivers to do that. I have to work with what I got, and I'm going to try to put him in the best position possible. But against that defense, especially when I know his weaknesses, don't you think I'm going to try to play into that? So, yeah, I'm saying this.
You're just setting them up to fail then,
I do
basically.
it for both teams. I know
Wow.
I know how to
Wow.
defeat the Black Knights. I know how to defeat the Pioneers.
What is your scheme against them then? Against the
The
Pioneers?
scheme is easy. Try to get the picks on. Don't worry about the run that much because you can't win too many run games in the RFL with just the running back. Force him to throw interceptions. If your quarterback's throwing picks, you're not going to win. So obviously we're trying to take away the pass. He doesn't have the wide receivers that are that good because they're young and they're not going to beat these corners often. I play the odds game. That's how you win. And when it comes to looking at the team.
Oh, coming from the guy that loses every week. Yeah.
Look at my teams. You telling me I wouldn't be winning if I had your teams?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Half your teams lose every week.
Look at my teams, though. It's the Pioneers and Black Knights.
Half your teams lose every week.
Come on now.
Come on now.
Yeah,
Come on now.
Let's
I can say that too.
Let's keep it on. Yeah,
Come
you can
on
say
now.
that. You telling me if I didn't have the Snorks, they wouldn't be losing? I'm just saying. What point do you want to make?
Look at you over here. Oh, this is what I do. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Play the odds.
Yeah,
I don't know what you
odds.
guys are doing.
I play the odds.
plays the odds.
But I do it for both teams.
And he's 50%.
Yeah, and you lose half of
50%
them every time.
That's a weird flex. How can you flex that?
What are you doing right now? What are you
it's
quoting?
It's a weird flex. You need quotations for this.
You're the only
flex.
You're the only guy sitting at 500 all the season long.
You look like a little kitty cat, like right now, like
I'm debunking exactly what you're saying. You're
only
trying to
at
come at
500.
me. You're trying to come at me talking about 500 when I have the lower end teams. You guys have the better teams.
Here he goes,
so
man.
yeah, what are you saying? Of course.
Here he goes, man.
Of course. You have the Explorers. You have the Cougars. These are teams that win. I have the Black Knights. I have the Pioneers.
We only have one team.
Who's
You've got
coaching them?
16. You've got 16.
You think I'm gonna win with all of those teams all the time?
Underbirds.
Come on,
You're only
now.
at 500.
Well, how does that make sense? Yeah,
You're
I'm at 500
only
with
at
the Black
500.
Knights. I have multiple teams. Of course, I'll be at 500 most of the time.
Do you know how irrational it sounds for you to be arguing?
No, it sounds. No, I know, but I'm trolling back. What do you think? I'm upset?
No,
look, this is
you
what I'm
can't
saying.
troll us. We're trolling you.
Yeah, and I'm trolling back. First of all, I'm coming back off the troll. You think I'm just sit there and be like, yeah, you're right. Nah, I ain't gonna do that. Y'all boys,
Yeah,
sit
you
there,
should. You should just
can't-
accept it.
No, I'm not gonna accept it because at the end of the day, those are the weaker end teams. It's gonna happen. So back to my point, he's gonna throw a lot of picks, most likely in this game. So if that happens, the Pioneers are gonna win because guess what? Trey Allen ain't been looking that good, but they can run the ball. They have better wide receivers. They have a better defense. Tactically, I would have to say. We don't know the consistency of the Black Knights. I'll tell you one thing, though. This defense of the Black Knights has been playing better than I expected. But I don't see that really happening when you have to go up, especially when, like I said, once again, y'all keep saying with the trolling that I'm doing this and that. But yeah, obviously, I know the weakness of the team. I'm going to play the weakness of the team and try to win.
Why don't you play the weakness of the Pioneers and let the Black Knights win?
You don't think I'm doing that? What do you think I'm just gonna? You don't think I'm just? You think I'm gonna just have the Pioneers be at the Black Knights be at a disadvantage, and I'm not gonna play the weaknesses of the Pioneers?
Yeah, maybe.
Come on now. If that was the case, why did the Pioneers beat the Huskies?
Well,
Maybe
one
you wanted
thing's
to add a little
guaranteed.
razzle dazzle
Ain't
to
no
the
razzle dazzle.
league.
If
One
I
thing's-
really was
one
that much
thing's
of a fan
guaranteed.
of the Huskies just because I built them up, you think I would have allowed that to happen?
One
Hey, it
thing's
makes for a good
guaranteed.
I'm just
storyline.
saying.
One thing's guaranteed. You're gonna take a loss.
Yeah.
Guess
I'm gonna
what?
get a win, too.
I'm rolling with the Black Knights because of all this slander.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, this could go either way. I got a 1.5 point spread difference between the two. I'm taking the Pioneers, though, because of that. I do feel like McCall will be more likely to succumb to the game plan than the Pioneers will. That's how I feel about it. Now, in terms of this next game, man, it's Cougars and Aviators.
Wait,
This is a
what you got-
toss-up.
what You got the Aviators by 6.
No, I got the Aviators by 2 because I feel like it could go either way. And you obviously you should know why I got this. You're home. It's been 3 losses, right? I just need to see can you bounce back from this? That's all it is. Can the Cougars bounce back from this? The Aviators have just been in less situations where they haven't been on that type of downward spiral. The Cougars, it's tough right now. Can you guys bounce back against the Aviators where you guys typically have close games? Now, I will use this in your defense. Historically,
No, don't
the
give me anything.
The Aviators have only beat the Cougars in RFL history, even before Rob, one time, and that was with Marquise Washington, his first game in his rookie season. Other than that, with Rob, they've won every game. So, with that, just like you guys said earlier, Aviators could be due for one, right? They could be due for one because of the circumstances, because of the situation. So, because of that, I have to side with the Aviators here because I feel like this is the best chance that they have to get that done. So, that's my thought process on it. What you guys thoughts? And of course, he's going to take his team. He should. But what you think?
What is the
Spread?
Yeah, what's the spread?
2 points. I got 1.5.
1.5 for
yeah.
For who?
Aviators.
Aviators. Okay. Rob, are you changing anything up with your game planning at all, or schemes or playbooks at all?
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of dangerous though, man. I'm definitely switching the playbook.
What'd you switch to?
I think I'm switching to Baltimore, man.
Oh.
Yeah, I think I'm switching
offense
to Baltimore.
or D?
Offensive D. Offense. And I'm gonna
Baltimore.
switch my defense to I think I'm switching my defense to San Fran's defense. So now this is a thought. I haven't fully thought about it just yet, but I think I'm I understand the ramifications with the Baltimore defense.
Oh, you said defense.
I mean offense.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
You know what it could do. I can't run a 34. You know what I'm saying? We don't have the personnel for a 30. So I have to stay in the 43. With that said, I understand what it could mean with the Baltimore offense. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to try my best to get him to become more, I guess, more agile and utilize the run game heavy more and open up the pass. And I want to stick around his strengths. Now, I know that he's a vertical power run guy. I see that but I feel that we have some weaknesses with the wide receiver core getting open and the line blocking. And I think that I need to go away from the passing thing right now and establish some blocking up front. So I've changed the line a bit. And I hope that we can hold on. And I'm trying to emphasize running heavy.
I understand the logic there.
You know,
Mhm.
and it might not work. It might not work. I mean, he might be able to stop that. He might be able to stop that. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I know that Gino looks good when he runs the read option.
That's actually what I was gonna say too.
Yeah. I know it's a read option. I know it runs the read option. It emphasizes on that. And I'm trying to also retool his X factor to fit this style. And I think it's looked good in my offline stuff. And I don't know if it's going to work, but I still have 3 changes. I haven't changed my offense yet. So this is just this might just be a trial.
You can mess
week for
around
me.
with that. Yeah, you got time to
Trial
mess
week for me. And if not that, then I think there's a safer one I can go to. But it kind of is more similar to the pass stuff, man. And we're just not there with the pass blocking. really run blocking either. But I think that I've built it. We have more of a chance to block in the run than we do in the pass at this point. But I just got to fix some things up. Also, I'm changing some things too. It's no shocker. I've been talking to the guys. Uh, unfortunately, I've kind of put myself in a bad situation with Locker because now he's not a X Factor anymore. He's a star, or superstar. I'm sorry. So, but I'm starting to think that maybe Hodge
No, he's a
isn't
star.
prepared. He's a star, but he's
Yeah.
not he doesn't have any abilities.
Yeah,
So
that's a
now
star.
he's regular Joe. So I'm starting to feel like maybe Hodge just my I just tested it out for the first part of the season, and we haven't really seen anything that would lead us believe, or at least me to believe that I should keep running them. And so I'm gonna go back to. I'm just gonna reorder. I've reordered the depth chart. This also might mean that Bryant might not get as many reps as well, but I just reordered the depth chart, and I'm going to go based off of my best personnel in place. And I've got some things up my sleeve as far as some trickery. But other than that, I'm just gonna because I have to at this point. I can't keep screwing around.
Mhm.
It's been 30-point blowouts. It's never happened to us since I've been coach 3 times in a row at home. So I think that I have to make some changes because those things were not working. So it's gonna be some different Cougars this weekend, and hey, we might be the laughing stock this weekend, or we might be a great looking team this weekend. I don't know, but I've got changes left in my belt. And I've only changed once on defense, so I've got 3 on offensive change and 2 left on defensive change. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. So
All
I
right.
I actually think that because I was running a lot of tests last week too, and that might not be a bad play at all. Um, I was actually seeing some really nice stuff with DJ in that, and I know me and you've sort of had some similar struggles with our quarterbacks this year in different weeks. But okay, I sort of like that. I'm gonna go with the Cougars. I think that might end up really helping some stuff out because the game is there's one way to get downfield. I've faced a team that played this book in my NFL week. They were running Baltimore, and I tested a little bit myself, and I think that might end up working. I'm gonna go with Cougars.
All
it
right.
also it's very run heavy. It's not pass heavy, and it also keeps him honest and keeps him very very conservative. Which until I can figure out what I'm doing with him, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, I need him to
Yeah, I
be as
don't think it's a
conservative
bad idea.
as
It's
possible.
good.
So
I
I'm
see
gonna
the
see.
logic. It could work.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, all right, next game we have the Tigers and the Elks. Despite the Elks' records finally, undefeated streak coming to an end last week, it was a great battle. The Tigers just got, of course, embarrassed this past week against the Thunderbirds, but it's the Thunderbirds. At home, though, I feel like the Elks, though, despite that loss, I do feel like the Elks are a solid team this year. And with the home field advantage, I do feel like they can defeat the Tigers. And I think it's a really good, just about evenly matched game. So I give it to the Elks by a field goal, simply because of how the season's turned out to this point. Um, yeah, it's all about how will the Tigers bounce back, right? Uh, we'll have to see. I just feel like the Elks at this point just a better team.
Um,
I'm going with the Tigers.
I'm gonna go Elks. What's the margin?
3 points, field goal.
I think they still got some momentum, man. I think they're hot. I think they got some momentum. I think this loss was bad for the Tigers, and especially the quarterback play of last week. So I think the Elks might edge this out at home.
All right, next game we got the Bulldogs and the Miners. Miners looking good, but I think this is where it comes to an halt. Even though they got the home field advantage, the defense of the Bulldogs is just too crazy. And Merritt looked pretty solid. I think he's going to be good enough to bring these guys home. Typically, when you see Miles McCain play up against a defense of this caliber this season, even though, like I said, it's only been a few games in RFL play in which he's played, he has not done good against defenses that have this type of talent on it. And so I feel like the Bulldogs are going to be able to shut down the offense. I think they're definitely going to shut down the run, which means they're not going to have anything going for themselves when it comes to the offensive side of the ball like that, unless McCain proves the opposite. And then on the defense side of the ball, I think their defense can definitely disrupt some things for Timmy Merritt, but they have enough firepower to be able to score points. So I got the Bulldogs by 4 more points.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, you got it, Rob.
Three elite defensive linemen on the Bulldogs defense, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got
I
Drew
think
Brewer,
that
Jermaine Taylor.
I'll be
I
very
think that's about
surprised
it,
if this
actually.
O line is able to block that, be able to succeed against that.
Jack Brodine.
If they do, man, wow, that'll be, So we'll see. I'm gonna still, just because I don't like Reed, I'm gonna tip my hat to the Miners.
Hey,
Hey, Reed,
Oh,
I'm just
wow,
playing
straight
around,
like
man. I'm just
that.
playing around, man. No. I want to say Bulldogs. I do want to say Bulldogs, but I want to see if this Miles McCain train is for real on this, because they played us so good, man. Jesus, man.
Yeah, defense is like that. They're gonna cause problems.
Yeah, and I'm just I'm worried. I'm worried a little bit. You know what I mean? That maybe Reed might overthink this thing here. Slide a victory their way. We'll see. I'm gonna say who did you have in the spread?
Bulldogs by 4.
I'm gonna say Miners by a touchdown.
I would like to see the Miners win this one, but I do think that the Bulldogs are going to shut it down. I do think that. Well, I shouldn't say shut it down. I don't think it's going to be a huge blow, but I think Bulldogs will win, but I won't give them the spread.
All right, and just to answer that question there, Fry, don't jinx your guy, right? Because this might be
Oh,
the week.
jeez. Yeah.
Don't jinx your guy like that.
Way to go, dude. Way to go.
Yeah,
Somebody get a screenshot of that message.
I know what I just said was crazy. I know that because I respect the Bulldogs defense. But yeah, we don't want to get outlandish.
All right, Red Dragons and the Riverhogs play each other. I got the Red Dragons by 3. After how I saw they did the Voyagers, I really feel like this team with Anthony Savoy on his day, he should have this, man. The defense is looking lights out as ever. And I think that even Miles McCain, not Miles McCain, I keep saying Miles McCain, Jake McBride, he has his moments against defenses like this where he's just not on his day. So I think he's going to struggle a bit, and I feel like the Red Dragons are going to get it done on the road there in Portland. And once again, spread by a field goal or more. Go ahead, Rob.
It's a big win. It was a big win for the Red Dragons last week. That was a big win, man. That's got to be a lot of momentum, a ton of morale coming into this game. Q, on the other hand, has looked pretty good in his games that he's played. And so it's like, to me, it's a Red Dragons versus Q kind of thing, We know what Davis can bring to the table. I think that Davis is definitely going to try to bring the wood against McBride here, man. I got a feeling that he's going to try to bring the defense. I'm going to say that I take the Red Dragons on the road with this game. And I think it's going to probably be by a very small margin. What do you have the spread as?
3 points, field goal.
Yeah. It's going to be very, very small margin. This might come down to either a pick six, field goal, or just the 1 point, or something like that, But yeah, I think it's going to be a good classic game, classic matchup. Maybe not even high scoring, Smitty. Now that I think about it, it might be a defensive game.
Could be.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts here, Bill?
I'm going to go with the Riverhogs.
Riverhogs, why?
I love what Coach Davis and the Red Dragons have been able to do recently this season. I'm just not 100% convinced if this is what we're going to see all the time, or if it was a flash in the pan, because we've seen, Savoy especially go hot and then go very cold too. So I feel like the Riverhogs have been, even though they haven't been like top tier of the conference, they've been more consistent in my eyes the last 2 years. And I really like what that secondary does for the Riverhogs. And I feel like if there is a week where Savoy could have a downturn, it could be against a secondary like this. And so I'm going to go with the Riverhogs.
All right. All right, next up, we got the Bulls and the Huskies. I got the Huskies here by another small margin, field goal. I just still feel like they have just enough firepower still to edge them, even though they're going through their stint as well. And it seems like the Huskies, what's going on with them is, when they face up against the weaker teams, they just aren't playing to their caliber because of just throwing the ball too much, and then they're taking L's. And then when they play up against the better teams that they should, think they have a trouble against, they find a way to win. But this is kind of that middle level team, so it's like it could go either way. But they got the home field advantage, so I'm gonna go with them.
Bulls, man. Let me look at this here. 3-4 in the season. Looking at
They're 4-4. The ARC didn't get updated. There's a game.
it's not updated.
Yeah, it's not going to get updated. Unfortunately, 2 guys until Super Saturday is over with due to a game already being recorded. So we have to wait for a minute.
Okay, so I won't be using that this week.
They're 4-4 though. They had an auto win.
OKC, and 2 L's. OKC, L to but they beat London, huh? Yeah. I'm going Huskies, man. I'm going Huskies at home.
Same here. I'm gonna go with the Huskies.
All right, Sunday. Great rivalry also in the RFL outside of division. This is taking place all the way back since season 3. I'm definitely going to go in detail during the game on this. We saw what happened last year, but different dynamics this season, right? Gunners are not the same team they were a season ago. These guys are sitting at 5-4, just over 500. They got the home field advantage here, but the Thunderbirds are the Thunderbirds, and I will not choose otherwise until somebody beats them. That's just the way it goes. So I got the Thunderbirds here by 4 or more points, but definitely a game that they should not tread lightly due to the fact that they still have some firepower on offense, and their defense overpowers them. But there's going to be a huge advantage with the Gunners coming into this game from scenarios because of how hot the Thunderbirds are. But it also will benefit the Thunderbirds as well because they're going to get a boost as well. So to me, I'm taking the Thunderbirds here on the road to get their vengeance back for their divisional loss from last season.
What's your game plan versus the Thunderbirds, sweetie?
Simple, just best thing you could try to do is
I'll take the Thunderbirds, man. I'll take the Thunderbirds. Man.
Yeah, I put something up there for him, man. Best thing you could try to do is just to try to get the LC3 best way you can. That's all you could do.
The only thing you can do against the Thunderbirds is make sure the books and schemes you're running that mesh with your team are as on point as possible. That's the only really thing you can do, because you can say you can try to pass because you don't like the D-line, you don't want to try the D-line, but their secondary is great. You can say you want to try to run because they don't have more anymore and the secondary is crazy, but the D-line at front 7 is still great. Same with the offense. You can say you don't want to run or defend the run because of LC3, and then, they'll run it anyway. So honestly, the only thing you can do against the Thunderbirds is, I know my book is good in these areas and my team is good in these areas. I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to point them in this direction and help them in those areas to hope that they win some matchups. That's really the only thing you can do against this team.
Yeah, and it's tough because with a team this defensive talent, this talented at defense, it's like it don't even matter what their offense does. But if their offense does anything, it's a wrap. Like, they could be shut down all game offensively, but the defense is so good that
they can.
You can't do anything from that point. And they will always stay in the game. And then if you get that many opportunities on offense because your defense is good, at some point your offense is going to click, right? And it's not like the Thunderbirds' offense isn't bad either. There's an 85 overall offense. They got some work still to do on the offense side of the ball, right? But LC3 is the ultimate difference maker because he can kill you with his arm and his legs. And that's been more so prevalent these last 2 years. He doesn't have to. And another thing, I say this every year, I think he's getting his credit now. People recognize this, is how accurate he is, right? He doesn't need to have the best wide receivers. He could be mad accurate with throwing at any level of the field, regardless of who his receivers are for the most part. And on top of that, if you start taking that away, oh, I'll run it. So it's tough. I got the Thunderbirds by 4 more points. Did you guys got them by that margin?
Yeah.
4? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And for the last game, the Snowhawks and the Crusaders. I got the Crusaders at home by a field goal. And the reason I'm going to take the Crusaders here is simply because it's upsetting to see what happened to them this past week. On top of that, the last time these guys played, the Crusaders were about to beat the Snowhawks. And in overtime, the Snowhawks were able to force it into in the final seconds, and the Crusaders did not get a shot at all on the offense side of the ball. Gidley was able to clutch it out and bring them home. Do I think they could do that twice, especially with how the season's been going? No. I feel like the Crusaders, with the home field advantage, have a good shot at defeating the Snowhawks this time around. So I'm just going to choose them, man, until the Snowhawks improve that they should be the team that runs the West.
Mitchie, get it done. Snowhawks with the win.
I've got to go with the Snowhawks here because they have to win. They have to.
Have to.
This is a must win. Yeah, it's week 10. We're in must win territory already. You have to win this game. No need for needed pressure, but like
turn it up to the max, Mitchie.
Yeah. Don't turn it up to the max. He needs to turn it down. Because he's overthinking. Like we mentioned this earlier when we were talking about the Barons, and you were saying, Smitty, how you think that Roland started just getting back to the basics, right? And it's showing through the last month. Mitchie is in the same exact spot that Roland was in, maybe earlier this season, last season, where you can tell the intention is good and the reasoning is good, but it's just overcomplicating things when it doesn't need to be that complicated. The team is there, the talent is there. You just have to dial it back and become more simple and just go with the obvious choice. You don't have to be outlandish. You don't have to be against the grain to be successful. And I just think that's what the Snowhawks are doing right now. And I think that I hope that Mitchie sees that. He's going to switch gears, and it's gonna be back on track.
Yeah. You got 2-on-1, Mitch. Right now, I'm not having much faith in you, man. You're going to have to prove that you can will this team back. This is upsetting to see this, man. What are these guys, 5-4? 5-4. Why? At this point, the teams they lost to, unacceptable.
But that should tell you something, too, that we're having these kind of talks about the team, and they're actually a winning record. Like this team should be. And another funny thing is Forbes just pointed out you didn't put his team anywhere on here. Even the bye week. Now he feels slighted.
Oh. Well.
Oh.
I guess I got to make an edit. At least you caught it before I posted it. I still might mess around and post it. Make sure you send me a reminder. But, yeah, that's it.
You
for the
slighted
schedule.
him. How dare you?
That's the schedule. Of course, we got Diablos missing. We got the Armadillos, Condors, Desperados, Lancers, Wizards, Dreadnoughts, Steamers, Bisons, and Voyagers all on bye weeks. I think it's only the Voyagers that actually have a true bye week. Everyone else got a bye win. So, yeah, that's it for the schedule. And now we'll go ahead and dive into we've been on these things so long. Of course, we got the league inactivity. So let's go ahead and look in the ARC side of the awards here.
No games been played, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you might want to back out.
No, I know how to turn it off.
Or at least cover the screen, I mean.
Yeah, I could turn it off and then go to the awards.
Better hope that the awards don't show any records.
Yeah, they will.
I think. Oh, no.
Oh, man. All right, so this is what I'll do.
Can you zoom in to cut the top part off where it just has the list? Because it only shows the record and their overall.
They would have to see it. Okay,
they don't have to. They don't have to see that part.
Finesse. I know the finesse.
Or just show it anyway.
Yeah, but this is the
that's
other team.
That's the NFC. Gotcha.
Yeah. Let me see alt.
Yeah, so just if you bring it right to where that yellow, the top of that yellow part is for the cursor, right below that top part, they won't. Oh wait.
No.
Yeah, they're still gonna see.
It's gonna cut the name off.
Yeah, no.
See if I go like this.
Yeah. Not gonna win.
But yeah, but we know who they are, though. You know what I mean? Once we're in the RFL teams and we have the team name and the first initial last name, we're gonna know who that is.
All right, cool. Yeah, I think we could finesse with this.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll finesse it
it'll
like
work.
this. It's a little sliver, guys. So that's all we got to work with. You guys can see the names pretty small. I can make it a little bit bigger, but I want to make sure I could bring this screen back because we do need it for the future. So all right, let's go into the ARC. Offensive Player of the Year right now leading is Cameron Jones, wide receiver for the Dreadnoughts. This guy's got 10 touchdowns on the season. And then you got Keith Guyton. I'm kind of shocked because it looks like a lot of different weights have come into these awards, guys. I have never seen a wide receiver leading an Offensive Player of the Year nominations, especially over quarterbacks that have actually thrown a decent amount of touchdowns. So
maybe they just like neutered the weight that the quarterbacks have.
Yeah, I think they did.
Which isn't a bad thing.
Yeah, it's not bad. Cam Jones and Keith Guyton at 2. I mean, these dudes are going crazy, right? So, I mean, it does make sense. We've seen wide receivers in real life win MVPs, right? So, all right. Then we got Trey Worsley at number 3 for Offensive Player of the Year. Langford Cloud at 4. Matt Niani 5. Jay Morris is even in the talks here at 6. We got Jake Winkleman. Jake Winkleman 7. Dre Shivers 8. Katron Lusk 9. And then Anthony Savoy 10. This is Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Player of the Year, leading the charge, Carter Delahart of the Voyagers. This guy's leading the RFL in sacks right now. He had 12. So he's balling. Wendell DeMache, he's there as well. Killing it still as an old head. Then we got Reed Holmberg of the Celtic Tigers. Charles Raymond, old head, still out here. All the old heads still out here balling right now in this award on defense. Tank Frost, the rookie.
There we go.
Top 5. All right, then we got Xavier Eves. You know, this guy went crazy with the interceptions. We got Luke Stokes of the Sentinels. Parker Brockers, the corner of the Bisons. And Devontae Celestin of the Red Dragons. And Drew Brewer, there at 10. He was Defensive Player of the Year last season. Looking at the Rookie of the Years, leading it on offense as expected, Miles McCain. And at number 2, they got Tyreek Bryant. Then we got Amari Harris, Chandler Back, Rashawn Hale. We got Darnell Hodge, Frederick Irving, DJ Evans, DeAndre Campbell, and Peter Vaz. These are the top 10 guys right now, nominations for Offensive Rookie of the Year in the ARC. All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year in the ARC. Tank Frost, obviously we saw him even in the Defensive Player of the Year talks, which is crazy. He's definitely leading this right now. And unfortunately, Xavier Eves is on this list because whoever was helping build the Pioneers made him a rookie. So I'm going to play the bell for whoever that was, man. And messed up. Then we got, and it's tough because I can't take him out of this now because he's in the Defensive Player, the Defensive Back of the Year nominations. So unfortunately, I got to figure something out with that. David Leathers is at number 3 from the Armadillos. Dion Bowe from Miami here. We got Alvin Mack at number 5 from Baylor at the Bisons. Killian Bain from Baylor as well with the Miners. We got Giovanni Diggs from TCU with the Aviators. Tyreek McCall with the Voyagers, defensive end. Aiden Phillips from Oregon there with the Sentinels. And then we have Sherrard Foster at 10 from Michigan there with the Black Knights. Got a couple Black Knights on this list here. And I guess it makes sense because, you know, they're on defense. Well, I guess not too much, though, all the time. I mean, this is a different season. Best Quarterback of the Year award right now, Anthony Savoy. Anthony Savoy is leading.
He said that with a surprising tone to his voice.
Man, because, you know, this is a huge feat right now at this point for him because, you know, he was never in considerations for this for prior seasons, and he's actually doing a pretty solid job. You know, he's doing better. That's what we want to see. And now he's leading this category. That could be a huge up for him. You got Justin Jones at number 2 from the Celtic Tigers. You got Glenn Hay, who won this award last season. At 4, we have Timmy Merritt. 5, Owen Jack from the Dreadnoughts. Joseph Torres is in here at 6. Miles McCain at 7. I was kind of surprised by that. But actually, if you look at the touchdown interception ratio of Joseph Torres, it's not too bad either. Marquise Washington here at 8. We have Jake McBride at 9 and Holden Wolf at 10. All right, best running back, ARC. Trey Worsley, guy still getting it done every year. He's leading right now. We got Dre Shivers, who's also another candidate that's usually up here every time. Langford Cloud's up here usually every time. Jay Morse, shocking. He's at 4, doing his thing this season. Kadron Lusk at 5. Carlos Berry 6. Kingston Kinney 7. DJ Scott 8. Matt Wheaton 9. And then Andre Tomlinson, the Pioneers, at 10. Best wide receiver, we got Cameron Jones. Keith Guyton, the same with the Offensive Player of the Year awards, the way they were lined up. Matt Niani at 3, the usual suspects here. Jake Winkleman, that's another guy, too, who's really been doing his thing, man. Jake Winkleman's been balling for the Bulldogs right now. Andrew McIntosh, lost to Dev, still put up 175 yards. He don't care. He's in the nominations at 5. Buck Ulrich at 6. Got Michael Hendricks, Sylvester Leach, Jackson Hunter. Shout out to Jackson Hunter, man. This is a guy who's been shopped around on a few teams, gets picked up here with the Voyagers, and they're utilizing him pretty well. It's good that he's actually even on this list.
Wasn't he on the Barons?
Yeah, he was on the Barons. He was definitely on the Barons.
That's what I thought.
I think he was somewhere else as well, but I forgot where. But, you know, he's been shopped around a little bit. Maurice Starman there, the veteran for Armadillos, at 10. We don't have a best tight end award, which I don't understand why they still don't have that, Madden. But best offensive lineman of the year. And it's different, though. I've heard they're actually looking, like, from looking at this, they're actually looking at the sacks and stuff. So,
Really?
Yeah. So
do they get the sack stuff right, though?
Yeah.
'Cause I know that wasn't that sort of messed up for a while.
Yeah, they're actually computing those, it looks like, from what I saw. And then Mitch and Ford said they were seeing kind of the same thing. So this might actually be an accurate stat. And if that's the case, DeMarcus the Great is still the great offensive lineman here. And the ARC, then we got Jake Kowser of the Dreadnoughts, Teddy Hattemore of the Bisons. You got Carter Shore, D. Royster, Deron Berry, he's a known lineman. Perry Borum. This is how I know this, because this guy's a 78 overall, and he's not really that. So I think they are equating what they're actually doing. Elliot Irwin, Richard Porter, and is it Davin or Devin? Yeah, Davin Martin. Denman.
I would say Davin
Denman. Yeah.
Davin Denman.
Davin. We'll figure it out. This is why we don't show him love. But anyway, Wendell DeMache, despite not leading the league in sacks. That's because Carter Delahart is not a defensive lineman. He's still technically listed as a linebacker. But Wendell DeMache, best defensive lineman of the year so far in the ARC. Then we got Charles Raymond, still killing. Drew Brewer won this last season's at 3. You got Ed Ritter, 4. Alumbi Easy of the Black Knights at 5. He's been doing great. Ivory Odom, old defensive tackle, still doing his thing. Antonio Griggs doing his thing still. Barry Ashmore, William Yost of the Aviators, and Jason Henderson for the Voyagers. All right, best linebacker in the ARC. Carter Delahart. Just talk about this. This guy's leading the league in sacks. Defensive Player of the Year right now candidate. And, of course, he is the best linebacker in the ARC right now. Under him is Reed Holmberg, another usual suspect that's here. And look at this, another Celtic Tiger. Michael Frier has definitely stepped his game up in the last 2 years, this year especially. Got Tank Frost even in the candidates for this. This kid's balling. He might take home Defensive Rookie of the Year. But he's there at 4. Kean Dever at 5. Anton Burley at 6. Jack Higgins at 7. Luke Stokes 8. David Leathers, another rookie year in this category, at 9. And then Nolan Angelo at 10. All right, best defensive back of the year award, leading the RFL in interceptions. He's got 6 so far. It's Xavier Eves. Then we've got Parker Brockers at number 2. Avante Celestin 3. Trey Wilkins at 4. Devontae Gibson. Trey Sinclair. Keani Jones. Kilo Austin. Shaq Tiller, and Lynn Mayberry. Those are your 10 and best defensive back. And for the kicker, we're going to show him some love. Ross Goss, the boss. Or we should say the boss first or something. The boss, Ross Goss. I like that. This guy is leading for kicker right now. Michael Flota at number 2. That's why you spend a first round draft pick on him, right? So he can be number 2 kicker of the year. But Sean Rollins, number 3. We got Anthony Carney. We got Cole Mitrione, and we got Billy Riley. That sounds like a country music singer. We got
Pretty sure it probably is.
yeah, or a pop song artist that's actually a female. But Carrie, am I reading this? I'm tripping. Carrie McCoy. I don't know why I'm thinking something else. Tyrus Wiley, Max Hayes, and then we have Jerome Davis at number 10. All right, so let's look at who's leading for MVP in the ARC. And that is, of course, that's not our guys. Whoever the next RFL player is, MVP right now is Anthony Savoy.
Look at Smitty's face.
I need to see
man.
this guy's stats. This is crazy because, I mean, don't get me wrong, he's playing good, but I didn't expect this. I think he does have a lot more touchdowns and interceptions, though. So he's actually.
Can we show stats?
No, because I don't want to. Well, he had.
I don't even know if that would have been a game that would be, but let's not even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then anybody else in Justin Jones at 2, and Glenn Hay 3, Carter Delahart, defensive player here at 4. So, yeah, that's what it is, guys. Anthony Savoy is actually leading the ARC for MVP. That's a bounce back season, my guy.
20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Oh yeah, that's
71 yards.
That's what's up. 20 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So he's balling better than, well, that's got to be some NFL games because he hasn't been doing that in RFL play.
This is actually not updated either, right? So
yeah, that's not updated. So
it's probably better because he had.
Well, no, that's accurate. It should be accurate
to this week.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Neon Sports?
Yeah, because if they didn't play last week, right? No, they did play.
No,
so it's added. Yeah, so that's actually what he had before this week. So that's accurate. Yeah. All right, so now I'm gonna go to the NRC side, show you guys what's going on there. You do fun, fast, fat. Open questions. I mean, if we want to field them, because it's getting a little late. All right, getting to the NRC side now. Early awards. All right. Offensive Player of the Year in the NRC. Daryl Johnson at number 1. We got Romeo Jackson, wide receiver for the Steamers at number 2. Madison Axel, running back for the Diablos at number 3. Reed Wagner. I'm shocked. Why is Reed Wagner down here? His touchdown to interception ratio is ridiculous. But he's
not as cool as DJ.
Yeah, he's got 4. He's at 4. LC3 is at 5. We got Amari Emanuel at 6. Piku McCullough 7. Jake Pride, wide receiver at 8. Excuse me, I'm tripping. Elijah Bentley at 9. And then we have Amir Williams at 10. All right, Defensive Player of the Year for the NRC. Nashawn Richardson. This guy's been killing for the Steamers, man. He's a dog. So rightfully so. I think that makes sense. Marvin Woolfolk right behind him for the Diablos. You got Marquis Sowell for the Wizards. Dante Floyd, the Crusaders there. Tyler Cage in the conversations here at 5. We got Max Knight at 6. Ariel Brown at 7. Timothy Statton at 8. Dwayne Costin at 9. And Therold Leanne, old veteran here. He actually was one of the linebackers that Mitch cut off the team to draft 3 of them. So, yeah, the fact that he's even in these conversations, old head still playing, you can see he's at a 77 overall now compared to his younger years. Leading for Offensive Rookie of the Year, Caleb Houston at number 1. Then we have Glenn. He's from Ohio State. So let me go ahead and shout out you guys' colleges as well. Glenn Sharp at number 2 from USC with the Diablos. Number 3 from TCU, Devontre Sharkley with the Toronto Thunderbirds. Number 4 from UCLA, Lewis Happ with the Crusaders. Number 5 from Georgia, Joshua Jeffries.
There we go.
With the Explorers. Number 6 from Oklahoma, D'Amico Brewer from the Lancers. Been rough for him, though. Patrick Connery from Ohio State, 2-time national champ as well with Caleb Houston with the Snowhawks. And then we had number 8, we got McKinley Weeks. He got the same face as the other starting tight end. That's why I was like, I hope nobody messed that up. But yeah, McKinley Weeks from he transferred. He's from Texas. Yeah, he
That's
started
not the right
out.
face.
No, that's correct.
McKinley Weeks.
Yeah, it's correct. It looks different on this Madden
I thought they had
compared to
the receding hairline guy. No.
nah. It looks different though on this Madden just because of I guess of the update, from that older generation looks weird. But yeah, McKinley Weeks there from Texas, former Notre Dame Fighting Irish at 8. Enrique Bird from Oklahoma. He's been making some plays from time to time with the Condors. And then we have Matthew Holford from Michigan with the Steamers. All right, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Tyler Cage right there at number 1. Number 1 overall draft pick. He's leading it right now. From Alabama, the Gunners. We have Keno Thedford with he's been balling too, man. This guy's getting in the backfield, getting pressure, getting sacks. He's from Georgia, originally from Notre Dame as well. That's where he had his first collegiate season at with the Desperados. At Devontae Moore from West Virginia, there with the Explorers. We have Joe Howard from Ohio State, corner with the Wizards. Then we have Aiden Freeman. He's been making plays from time to time as well from West Virginia as well there with the Condors. You got Clayton Zeno from TCU, safety with the Diablos. Keegan Meyer Jr., another 2-time national champ with those Ohio State Buckeyes there with the Shamrocks at number 7. Number 8, another Shamrock coming from Alabama, Maurice Rising there, cornerback. And then we have John Wolf. Yes, he was a generic that got picked up or something.
No idea who John Wolf is.
John Wolf. We got J.J. Reed of the Monarchs, too, from Alabama there with the Monarchs.
Bro, who the heck is John Wolf?
I don't know. I think he picked him up as a undrafted free agent from the class. Best Quarterback of the Year award, you got Daryl Johnson over Reed Wagner this season. I think what it is Daryl Johnson's only thrown 2 interceptions, right?
I think so.
That boy got saved from that one game not saving because then he had a few in there.
He threw
2
I think
in there, right?
2. Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, he's up there now. He's got one less in.
Oh, God. Smitty just died.
Yeah, almost passed out. But, yeah, he's got one less interception. I think that's what's important for quarterbacks. It seems more so for this year's of Madden is who's got the least amount of interception to touchdown ratio. And Daryl Johnson right there, Quarterback of the Year. Right now, Reed Wagner at number 2. You got LC3 at number 3. Ironic. Lane Kearney at 4. Chase McCoy at 5. You got Latavian Worrell at 6. Tom Wilson 7. Jabri Jackson 8. Ben Wakefield 9. And Kai Cash in the listing at number 10. Best running back in the NRC, Madison Axel. I think this guy wins this by a landslide. This guy's got 13 touchdowns up to this point. He might break the record. He's obvious clear-cut winner in my opinion right now. Mira Williams there at number 2. Shout out to him, his second year. Bradley Atagwe at number 3. Cordell Mickens, number 4. Kenny Steele has been balling with the Barons, number 5. Darius Martin, number 6. Been leading the league for most of the season. Tavion Hall at number 7. Jacob McDonald at number 8. Ronnie Nickens, number 9. And then at number 10, Vondre Bryson, who's had quite the bounce back there with the Wizards when given opportunities, averaging well. Best wide receiver in the NRC, Romeo Jackson. Then at number 2, another Steamers wide receiver. We know this happens. Jake Pride. Number 3, Piku McCullough has definitely been stepping up his game big time with the Diablos. Number 4, Amari Manuel. Number 5, Elijah Bentley. 6, John Johnson of the Lancers. 7, Caleb Houston's even in the talks here. The rookie from Ohio State there with the Explorers. Montrell Lansana at 8. CJ Robinson is in here at 9. And then we have Devin Dean at number 10. He's been definitely getting a lot more targets and opportunities these last few seasons. Offensive lineman, best offensive lineman right now goes to Patrick
look at
McNeil.
that.
Shout out to Pat. Let's get hashtag Pat in the chat, man. About to have fun facts with him too soon. Then we have Blair Harden at number 2. Isaac McCullum, number 3. Joe Griffin, number 4. Rashawn McIntosh, number 5 from the Thunderbirds. We got the Snarks. Offensive lineman Case Kern. Then we have Devontae Dean, who came from the Bulls, now over here with the Tigers. We got Gordon McQuaid At number 8, number 9, Dexter Moss. And then at number 10, got DeMonte Briggs. The name sounds familiar. He was white.
What?
I thought he was black. DeMonte Briggs.
That's racist.
I mean, I didn't mean to say it in that way, but wasn't he actually black in the file?
I honestly I can't remember.
I might be wrong here, but I could have sworn DeMonte Briggs. Unless I'm getting him confused with Jared Briggs. I think that's what it is. Might actually be, Caucasian fellow. But we have best defensive line. Obviously, Deshaun Richardson. He's up there, defensive player of the year right now. Dante Floyd at number 2. Marquise Sowell, number 3 with the Wizards. Number 4, Max Knight. Number 5, we got Ariel Brown. Number 6, Timothy Staten. Number 7, Isaiah Angum. Would be weird without this guy's name somewhere on this. Riker Higgins at number 8. Remind me if I'm saying the same number twice. I feel like I am. Number 9, we got Keno Thedford, the rookie. And then at number 10, another rookie, Devontae Moore.
There we
Best
go.
linebackers in the NRC, Marvin Woolfolk, still killing the game. At number 1, then we got Dwayne Constant, this guy was a defensive lineman. He moved to linebacker, which I think he's still being played off the edge, but he's listed in there. So he's number 2. Number 3, we got James Blackman. This is another guy who plays defensive line, but he's actually playing the linebacker position, if I'm not mistaken, for the Wizards this season. So he moved him around thoroughly, and man, the old head's still out here getting on the list, man. 77 overall at number 4. Number 5, Jacob Reed. Number 6, Tyler Cage. Number 7, Shaq Dunn. Number 8, Christian Barclay. Number 9, Demario Waters. And number 10, Reggie Craig. All right, now we get to the last 2 awards. Before we look at the MVP, best defensive back of the year, the guy who got paid to the seven-year deal, Cole McAnally, leading the NRC in
It's still nowhere
interceptions.
near Ethan King's payday.
No. Cole McAnally leading for best defensive back of the year in the NRC, followed by Darius Young of the Explorers, Alex Morincola of the Thunderbirds, Reese Goodall, who got shifted from linebacker to defensive back, has been doing very well there. At number 4, number 5, we got Spencer Garland. What? Goodall? You didn't know he got shifted to
is he safety now?
Yeah, he's been balling at safety. Killing.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice. I didn't notice that at all.
Yeah, he got moved to safety. And he's actually, I'm going to be honest, I think he played better than he did when he was a linebacker.
I remember that because he was really undersized. And then, yeah. Okay. Nice.
Yes, Spencer Garland's here at number 5. Ethan King. Look at this guy getting paid more money at 6. But at number 6, you got Draymond Deere. Number 7, Deshaun Bass, who's been having a really good season. Number 8, Lito Loso, man. Let's get Fabuloso in the chat, man. Shout out to Fabuloso, man, at number 9. And then we got Damari Sparks at number 10. And then our last
That's true, but we're not represented enough in every category. We should be at least 1 through 5 in every one.
And the last one, best kicker, going to Warren Hankins, which, not surprising. Elk's been able to score quite a bit, maybe kicking some field goals. That's been helping him out. He's leading for kicker of the year. We got Jeff Eisen of the Crusaders, Alan Bolger of the Gunners, Joaquin Gonzalez from the Lancers, Mason Morandi, Diablos, got Randy Neal from the Tigers, Kevin Carlson, Wizards, Simon Brewer, Snowhawks, Trey O'Connor of the Explorers, and AJ Moore of the Steamers. So that is it for the awards. Last one, MVP. Who's MVP of the NRC? Reed Wagner, which is why this doesn't make any sense to me.
I don't disagree with that because I feel like Wagner should be above DJ anyway. It's just I don't understand how the game.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
If it's unless so, and now this is the other part that confuses me, right? If they're looking at rushing, right, you would think this is where DJ will be above Wagner and Wagner will be above him in the quarterback ranking. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they definitely.
If they're taking that into if they're taking the rushing into consideration, that shouldn't even count for the quarterback ranking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's just really weird how they're doing that.
Yeah, that's weird. That's really weird.
Yeah.
Daryl Johnson here at 2 in this. Then we got LC3 at 3. We've got more RFL representatives in NRC side. Well, not for long. Chase McCoy's at the bottom, so we only got 4 representatives in the RFL. in the NRC. So there you have it, man. Those are the players that are leading currently in week 10 for these awards. Let's go ahead and jump into the fun facts with Pat, then run right into open questions. All right, question number 1. Who leads the RFL in forced fumbles in season 8? Hint, he also leads the RFL in career sacks.
Me. Forbes, shut up.
Oh, we got the correct answer
Oh, that
right
was
there
fast.
from trying to think of his actual name. Frameworks Frame Drop
That's
Gaming.
that's Connor Jameson, isn't it?
Yeah, Connor Jameson.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Wendell DeMache, he's got 3 forced fumbles this year. Dude's been an absolute terror this season. So 500 for Jameson there. All right. Question number 2. The last time the Thunderbirds played the Gunners, who scored the winning touchdown with 1 minute and 39 seconds left in the game?
This isn't even that hard to find.
Yeah, this should be
Lions.
pretty easy.
Mm.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop. Next 3 answers, we'll see. Oh, he's still taking L's. All right, so answer is
Dang, guys.
Ronnie
You guys-
Mickens. How didn't y'all
Bro.
get this? Y'all could have looked at.
I was sitting here, I'm like, do you guys not remember how there was this epic game between the Explorers and Gunners
in the playoffs
last year? How would the Thunderbirds score the winning touchdown against their last matchup if that was the case?
Yeah.
But I couldn't say nothing, so I'm like, I'll just leave it be.
Dudes were probably thinking about the regular season.
That could be
and
too.
Forgot
yeah.
about yeah. They played in the playoffs, guys. 35-28 was the final score. Gunners won. Question number 3: which 2 rookies have the most tackles at the halfway point of season 8? One is in the NRC, one in the ARC. So 1 from each side. Which 2 rookies leading tackles?
Ooh. You gotta have 2 names in your answer.
Yeah, 2 names.
Even if you type them out back to back, nope, don't count. Kane, Cajun Frost, Cajun Leathers.
And there goes Jameson with another one. It is Tyler Cage and David Leathers. Tyler Cage has got 48. I think he's racking up only the solo tackles because he got actually way more than that on the season. Same with David Leathers. He's got 42. So these would be solo tackles. I think he's adding up. But yeah.
Good.
All right. Last one. We actually got 4 questions on Pat's fun facts with Pat. 2 weeks in a row. So we got John Boyd leads the RFL with 46.34 yards per punt. Which team does he play for? Hit y'all with a hard one. Hit y'all with the Kickers Lives Matter just now. Tajay Gaddy, you got it. Dublin Shamrocks is
There it
the
is.
answer. Second, we have Overton with the Bulldogs at 46.04. And then the Huskies got Mason Borland, 45.82 yards. So that's it with the fun facts with Pat. You got 1,000 for Connor Jameson. And then Tajay Gaddy gets, no, it's 500, right? No, it's 1,000. Yeah, 1,000 for Jameson. Yep, and then 500 for Tajay, and then 250 for Pat.
There we go. Yeah.
All right.
I think you mean 2,500 for Pat.
Nah, I think I was right. But yeah, so that's it. We do have open questions. Anything you guys want to say before we start filling some things here you want to speak on, feel free to bring them up, Bill or Rob. Anything?
No,
I
man.
don't have much. I don't know who John Wolf is though. I
Yeah, John Wolf.
apparently he's in both files. Jameson said that before, I think.
Yeah, so he must have been from the
So he
draft
was in
class.
our draft class, but he
Yeah.
must have been a generic because
Yeah,
I've
he's
never heard of
generic.
him.
He wasn't part of the college series.
Of course, that's the guy that Roland would pick up too. Is some random generic?
All right.
Was he like a 63 overall?
Something like that. I know it's in the 60s.
If he's not at least a 70 overall, nope.
He's definitely in the 60s. Any questions, guys?
69 overalls. I guess not too bad. Could be worse.
I'm
23
gonna field
rookie.
questions for
Ooh.
4 minutes. It's approaching midnight around here.
I don't like when rookies are older than 21.
Any word from Bill on CS5 applications? Yeah, what's the latest on that? Like,
They've actually been rather slow trickling. We had like a huge influx at the beginning, and I do have to update the spreadsheet, so I know that's not currently accurate, but it hasn't been too many people. I am going to be, and I just told Connor this actually earlier. I'm going back to the way it was before you mess around with it, because it's way easier for me to click into forms than it is to log into the website, go to the
we talked
page,
about it,
click
so
on that. Yeah. So, but I'm going to update that, but it's really only been a few people here and there. It's been very sporadic because a lot of people are filling it out, but they're not actually paying. So they're just dead applications.
Yeah.
You know,
I've been telling guys that too on social media. I'm like, yo, you keep telling me where's the Discord stuff, but I'm looking up some of you guys' stuff and you didn't pay anything. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't care about
they'll
it if you get the
they'll throw in like
applications.
4 or 5 applications in there with the same player, and there's not a single payment. It's like, dude, like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I technically could probably reach out to every single one of them, but if I do it for one, I gotta do it for all. And I just, it's very simple. You gotta pay to play.
Exactly.
Essentially.
They'll reach
So
out
like,
if they're not getting a response, and I tell them
Yeah.
anyway. I'm like, yo, you didn't pay. Do that, then we can see what's up. So
yeah.
any O lineman, doubt that. They've been slow.
No, there is actually, because this is the thing too. It's actually been slower than in the past. Gotta be honest, because we had an initial, income like the first week or two, but it's really died off more so than it has before. We'll probably get another wave or two as we get closer to the college series again, because when people actually start getting hyped for it and whatnot. Right now it's usually pretty dead for applications.
Yeah, this
because
usually happens.
we're not even close to the college series. New people that are coming in are only focused on the RFL. So it's really, it's really dead usually right about now. It'll pick up closer to, like, once we get to playoffs area, then it'll probably start picking up steam
It
again.
always shoots up there.
Yeah. So I almost wonder if, like, because sometimes I feel like it's nice that we start it right away, right? But then there's so many people that just don't even know what they want to do when we lose so many. I feel like we should, like, shorten the window to like 1 month. Like literally only 1 month to apply and get in. Yes, because like it's just like they're sitting here for 6 months. They'll apply in January, and then half these guys forget that it even exists by the time July rolls around.
Well, I think it's a good method, because you do tend to catch a lot of guys later, because as we're growing during that time, you don't want to have it at a point where they didn't even know about it and now they can't join.
Well, yeah, I get both sides of it.
Yeah.
It's just looking at like the ways of how it goes. Like guys will come in flocks in the beginning because they're excited about it. It's new, but then they're like, oh, well, I have to wait till July. I'm gonna fall back a little bit and chill out, and I'll be back in July. And then 3/4 of those guys never come back in July. So,
well, that's the funniest thing, because if they really want to get into it, it's funny because some dudes do really find their way back and be like, hey, it's college season time. Like, yeah. So no love doing RFL like that though. All right, and then we said, so we're number 1 in the ARC. No, you are not, Tajay Gaddy.
Come on now, dude.
Said when time comes, I can help start pushing some marketing for the college series. Yeah, I know you've been talking, about the video, and I've seen some of the video edits, man. Pretty solid. hit me and see how far you got along with that though, because I know it's been a minute. There's room for people looking to join Clemson. Okay, now guys is making their college pitches. I think it's time to call it. All right, so yeah, we've reached our time, man. I've enjoyed this podcast, man. It's pretty lengthy, but you know, we had our fun. We talked about some serious things, and you know, was doing our regular banter. Anything you guys want to say before you guys hop off?
Nope.
Good. All good?
I'm good.
Man. Good luck to everybody this week, and I hope a lot of us turn it around.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you guys as always. League first. Let's get that in chat. Let's get those likes up too, man. Put them thumbs up in the chat. Turn us up. Tomorrow, Explorers, Monarchs, Bill, Ramos. It's going down. Rob will be calling that for you guys at 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I'll see you guys. Peace.